Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia, and welcome to the Arm Wrestling Buzz, episode 70. We got our special guest. He just had an amazing performance this past weekend at Knuckles Up 4. Jason, the Fine Wine Merlo. What's up, brother? How
Yes.
are you?
What's up, Paul? What's up, guys? How was everybody?
And
Good,
we
good.
we got the Arm Wrestling Buzz crew in the house. We got Israel Chavez sitting in a nice, pretty house over there. I like your background, brother.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
And we got Matt Hollywood kindly flexing those guns. What's
That's
up,
it.
guys?
Say
So,
that again.
guys, we got a amazing, epic event to talk about. I was just over in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and the Knuckles Up guys did not disappoint. They put it on. It was lit. It was the energy in the room was just wild. And of course, we had Jason Merlo. He had his big match against Joe Mink Young. And I want to first start off, bro, and just kind of walk us through the match from the beginning, round one, when you first gripped up with Joe, and tell us what your thoughts were and all.
So when I first gripped up with Joe, like we had a very quick setup, and then we slipped. And once we got to the straps, I could tell he was trying to test the hand, and he was really loading that back pressure, and he was loading that back pressure for quite a bit of time, and then he decided to change things up, and then that's when he started shifting his weight, going inside and getting his shoulder behind his hand, and he must not have liked what he felt in the strap with going into my hand. And that's really how the rest of that match played out. He decided to go inside, and round one, I high hooked him to the pad pretty quickly. And I think he was kind of surprised that he couldn't get his shoulder in. Round two, did the same thing, slipped. He had a little bit more bite on my hand where he held on a little more before our slip, but then round two, he fouled out. And he kept elbow fouling, false starting, elbow fouling, and that was how round two ended. And then in round three, when we got back to the straps, he had quite a bit of bite where I had him right at the pin pad, basically like an inch from the pin pad, and he got to stop. And I went to readjust. And if he hadn't fouled when I came up to readjust, he would have gotten pinned. But at that point, with all the taxing that was done on our hands, with all the fouls that he was doing, we had a lot of restarts, and I think his shoulder was tired, and then he just tried to last ditch effort, go straight backwards with his back pressure, and I just blew straight sideways through his hand, and that was how that match went.
What did you feel when you first, lined up with him with his back pressure? Did you feel significant back pressure, or did you feel you had, the advantage for sure?
I was in complete control while he was loading his back pressure, and I knew he was not going to like that, and he was like, he was loading. I could tell he was loading like he was going 100%, and he realized that nothing was moving, and that's why he had switched up his tactic to try and get his shoulder behind, because he knew he wasn't going to go through my hand. And like I said, I was hoping that he was just going to try, but he didn't until last round. And like I said, at that point, it didn't matter. But it was still a good feeling, because he said he wanted to test the hand out, and I, in my mind, I'm like, perfect, please test it, enjoy. And he didn't like it, and yeah, but I definitely was surprised. Look, he has a an uncanny ability to get his shoulder really tucked into his body, and get his elbow tucked into his body, and his shoulder way behind his hand. Like, he's super flexible, and like, it was crazy that he was able to do that and still stay squared up. Like, it was wild, like, seeing that happen. I'm like, wow, he can really get behind his hand, and he definitely has power in there. That's for sure. Like, people after the match, they were like, "Oh, easy work," and I was like, "No, I had to work for that. I had to work to pull him out of his power, to make sure he didn't get everything that he needed there." So it wasn't as easy as people may have thought it was just by the results. I had to work to get out of that match.
I noticed that when he was getting that shoulder behind, it seemed like it was presenting some sort of problem to you. It didn't look too easy once he would get that shoulder fully committed, but you were definitely keeping him out of his track. I could see that you were, you know, you knew to keep that shoulder out. I think maybe like it was round 2 that he did get his shoulder behind. I think that's when you felt you came out, your elbow came off the pad or whatever. Did you
Yes.
notice, did you see that being a problem if he was able to fully commit?
Yeah, and that's why I really had to load up that back pressure, because in order to stop that sideways hit with his shoulder behind it, I wasn't going to put my shoulder into that as well. I just needed to get his arm outside of his shoulder a bit, and that's how I was able to do that. And then from there, he did not have enough of his hand behind his shoulder where I pulled him out of it, and that's why I was able to basically top roll through it.
Now, when you were preparing your strategy, did you incorporate that he could be using the press? Was that even in the game plan for you? Did you expect that?
Absolutely, yes. And there was a few different things that I was going to do with that. One was I was going to top roll through it, but I knew that was going to put a lot of pressure on my elbow, which it did. But luckily, it was enough to get through. But two, if that didn't work, I was going to hook him, and I was going to pull him out of his power that way, because I felt like if his flop wrist press was that strong, I know that he was going to have a different type of power inside the hook, and maybe that would have been even worse for me. But that was my strategy with dealing with either press, flop wrist press, or turning him in to basically take him out of his power in a hook and then battle him through a hook. In a very technical hook, not really a deep wrist to wrist hook, but more of in the hand, a pronated hook.
Now, would you say, what was your thoughts on his hand, you know, as far as size and strength and all?
Well, I'll tell you this: when I first met Zhu, like, he was bigger and taller in person than I originally expected. I from his videos, the few videos that he has out there, he just doesn't appear to be as tall and as big as he is. But when I saw him in person, like, he has broad shoulders. He's just as tall as me, and he's a pretty big dude. And I wasn't expecting that. As far as his hands weren't overly big or anything very imposing. So his hand really didn't bother me. And like I said, in terms of hand, I definitely had the stronger hand, both with cupping, wrist flexion, and straight back pressure type posting style.
Yeah, we could see that being there in person. You know, I knew right away in round 1, you looked very comfortable, and I could tell on your face. And I seen him, he was, you know, like you just said, you know, at beginning he was going with the back pressure, and then he just totally changed total track and started trying to get that shoulder behind, and he looked kind of like he was very uncomfortable in the setup and all. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a long day for him. But he did surprise me when he did get that shoulder committed fully, and it was pretty impressive how he did get it behind a couple of rounds. And
He can, another thing that I noticed too in round 3 when he got that stop, like, he can pull sort of like how, right, there you go. His, like, with me being there, like, I'm looking at his hand and I'm looking at his shoulder and his arm, and I'm like, this arm is gonna break. Like, this is he is in that position just like Baek Sung Yeol gets in, and like, it was like crazy. I'm like, how is he holding me right now? Like, how is he holding me? But I think those uh, Asian style pullers, they definitely have a different style of pulling, and I feel like a lot of them get into this position, and they're super strong in that position. And I mean, more power to them. Like, their elbows are made of steel.
I remember Ryan Bowen after his match with Baek Sung Yeol said he's never felt anything like that. Like the side pressure, just, you know, he would take the hand and have total control, but Bach would just, the side pressure was just relentless. It just kept coming and wouldn't end. And I kind of, same thing with Jew. I seen very similar style, like you're saying. Matt,
Yeah,
what was your
exactly.
thoughts when you got to watch this match, bro? What were you thinking going on in round 1 and all when they first got together?
Oh, is that me you're asking? Sorry.
Yeah, Matt.
Oh, great. No worries. Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I think that Jason looked dominant throughout. I don't think he at any point he looked like he was in trouble, apart from that one stop moment which he talked about. But it did look like Ju was having a lot of problems with keeping his shoulder square at the start of each round, and it looked like he was trying to, like, this is just my view of it, but it looked like he was trying to sort of sit between two different techniques of look like he was going to top roll, but then right at the last second when they're about to say go, he would bring his shoulder in and try to transition to a press, but he kept doing it too early and he would get the timing wrong, and he kept getting these shoulder, like, false starts for movement in ref grip because of his shoulder. And it was, he was sort of missing the timing like quite badly, because they were about to say go, and then you'd see this huge movement from his shoulder, and then there was a couple of starts, but yeah, I think he just was blown away by Jason's strength, and you could see he made that adjustment after the first round, but it didn't work out for him. It was a slight, that moment when he got the stop, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is what he's been trying to do. He's obviously very strong, very comfortable in that position. And you saw Jason hit through, get stopped. He went back to the center of the table. Looked like he was about to hit again, and got an elbow foul restart. But yeah, in terms of how the match played out, I think Jason looked dominant the whole way through. And yeah, unfortunately, there was a whole bunch of fouls which could have changed things for Ju a little bit if he got the timing a little bit better, because I think he was trying to play that game of confusing your opponent when you're like, you don't know which technique I'm going to go through. He's sitting sort of back, but then he's going to come forward, but he just kept sort of messing up the timing.
Yeah, I agree. And we were watching underneath the table. You could see he would set up and he'd put his foot on the other post. And I was like, wait, he looks like he's going for a top roll. And just like you said, then at the last second, he would jump in and try getting that shoulder behind. But I also was thinking it might have been a language barrier thing as well. Do you believe that could have been, Jason? Because, no, you're shaking your head no.
No, look, he understands a little bit of English and he knows exactly what's going on the table. So no, I don't think it was any of that. Like I said, I think it was a few things. One, I think he was trying to tax my hand a little bit, especially after round one when he felt how strong the hand was. He wanted to try and wear that down. And I think just from his adjustments there, like, it's him trying to tax my hand a little bit. He knew he was always going to come inside after round one, but he was just trying to tax my hand a little bit to make it a little less, I guess, imposing off the start. So I think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was very crafty with that, and he really was trying. And but I do agree he was getting the go wrong with him just having that little bit of shoulder movement in, and yeah, that obviously resulted in one of his losses, and like I said, a lot of other fouls as a result of that. But no, I think it was him trying to be very tactical and trying to tax my hand.
Israel, what was your thoughts and take of the whole match?
From the very beginning, I knew it was going to come down to how he dealt with Jason's hand. I just thought that if he was able to deal with it, I would be very impressed. And if he wasn't, then it would come down to him defending against it. And once round one happened and I saw the gap, I just knew that, most of those little changes and transitions that he made, I think were really from the threat of the hand all along, and him not realizing maybe how big the gap was. It was really impressive to see you do that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I want to shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Caroline in the house, Sire, Josh Holden, Ballesteros Armwrestling, Robert Gould. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Dan Plexman, RHCP, Archdog. Oh, 98's in the house. Ryan Gronin and them. They were there present. They had a great event with sitting right next to us. Tall Paul in the house. Hell yeah. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I really appreciate that. So what was your strategy going into this match? And did you have to change anything during the match?
So my strategy coming into this match, like, I was going into this match more as an unknown. Like, there were a few videos out there that you could watch and pick apart, but it was relatively limited amount of data on Ju. And really the only thing that I was able to gather was a few things. One, he does have speed. And I wasn't worried about the speed, because a lot of times when somebody has a really lightning fast, super quick hit, I'm usually able to disarm that just from a heavy load off the go. Like that just completely disables a lot of people's hits. So I wasn't worried about that. The only thing I was really worried about is, which I saw from a few of his videos, like he is versatile. He could really pull anywhere. And I was wondering what he was going to do. But because of that limited information out there, I kind of approached this match as more like a tournament. Like I was going to go into this match doing what I wanted to do instead of preparing for somebody and trying to adjust to what they were going to do. So I felt pretty confident in me just being me and being able to put together the pieces after that. So like I said, it was a little different than previous matches that I've had at Knuckles Up, where I'm preparing for somebody and I'm specifically training for that style, and I feel like doing that is more defensive instead of offensive. So I felt in control, just saying I'm doing what I'm going to do, and it's going to be more him having to adjust to me.
When did you know that you had this? Was it right away in round one, or were you still a little skeptical? When did you know that you had the win in the bag?
To be honest with you, when I felt him trying to load in round one, and I could just see it on his face where he was just like, holy shit, it's a lot stronger than I thought. So I think from round one, I may have taken the wind out of his sails a bit, just by how imposing my hand can be when you're trying to go up against that. And like I said, with that, I knew his hit was kind of going to be disarmed, and I think he was going to squirm a bit there, and I think that's exactly what had happened. He never really got comfortable with what he was going to do against me.
I got to ask you this, man. Do you have any pre-match rituals that you do to stay focused?
I'm a relatively calm person, and I think I'm able to keep myself even keeled like that because, one, I really like to think during the match. Like I need to think. I'm not one of those guys that starts to go berserk and gets myself hyped up. Like for some people it works for them, but for me, yeah, in here, like this is where he's trying to test out the hand, and I almost turned to the crowd at a point and just wanted to say like he doesn't like what he feels, because I knew exactly what he was trying to do. But I just keep myself super even keeled and calm because I'm constantly thinking about what I need to do. And that allows me to actually move forward with the plan that I wanted to do in this match. And yeah, I give myself a lot of credit for being able to keep my composure throughout the match and leading up to the match. I can't get hyped up because then I feel like everything that I think about goes right out the window, and that's not good for me.
Now, do you like to be in the strap? Were you more comfortable getting strapped to him or without the strap?
For a guy like Zhu and what he was trying to do off the goes with those flop wrist presses, yes, I like going into the strap, because trying to hold on to somebody in that flop wrist press, especially when I'm trying to top roll out of it, it puts a lot of pressure on the inside of the elbow, a lot of pressure. And that's something that can cause damage if you let it get to a point where you're stretched out far enough. And yeah, so for a guy like that, where I know he's coming in with the flat wrist press, I really like the strap because I don't have to hold on as much. I just use the strap to my advantage to get them out of their power.
Very nice. And guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions, just post them up, and Matt or Israel will definitely make mention of them, and we could answer any questions that you want. Now, when you were loading up in the setup and all, give us a percentage of how much of your power were you using to load on them.
So I'll load to the point where I make sure they're not going to move me. And, that's something that I probably am going to evolve my game over time, because one thing's good that I enjoy, like even with a heavy load, I still have a pretty good hit, because usually if you can have, more of a lighter hand, lighter load, you could probably hit a lot quicker. But I'm happy that I'm able to load as much as I can and still have my hit. So I will load and continue that intensity up until the point where they start to back off. So they'll never really know when I'm at 100%. They'll never really know. And I don't think I've been really I don't think I've ever been tested to get to that point of 100%. Like he is loading up to 100% in a lot of the times where he's setting up here, and I could tell just by how he applies that back pressure, and then I feel his biceps start to open up, and like that's at the point where I know he's at 100%, and you could see it in his face.
Look,
and you
look
could
at the
feel it.
screen right here, right now. What is he doing? What pressure are you feeling? Is he back
So
pressuring or is he pressing sideways?
right now he's getting his elbow in to start applying his sideways pressure to get his shoulder behind it. Right before he started doing this, though, he was applying back pressure where he had his hand dumped in a low hand position.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's where he switches up his technique. Like I said, he dips, he really gets his elbow into the pad, low hands it, and he's applying so much back pressure in a low hand position. Sort of like how somebody like Chance Shaw pulls. Like that's the pressure that he was doing. But then he gave up on that, and then he started tucking his elbow in and getting his shoulder behind it. So when he does that, the pressure is coming through the palm of his hand sideways this way.
Okay. Now, what were some of the key moments or turning points in the match that really stuck out to you?
I'd say there were a few things. One, in round one, when he decided to get his shoulder behind his hand, and I was able to sort of like high hook him. That gave me a lot of confidence in myself to say, all right, perfect. I know I can top roll this guy, and I know I can high hook this guy. So like that round one really clinched it for me, and being super confident that I was going to come out with this win, because I knew I wasn't going to let the match go into a super deep hook wrist to wrist, because I did not want to test it, and I felt like I didn't need to test it. And with him getting his shoulder behind, I had a feeling more of that flop wrist press was going to come around, than I was going to be able to top roll it. So that was one of the critical things, was like, all right, perfect. My high hook is strong enough to be able to pull through that. I feel like I'm set. So that was one of the key moments there. I think in the second round, a key moment for him may have been where off the go, he sort of pressed and clinched on a little more, and he got my hand closer to the pad. I think that might have, for him, gave him a little bit more confidence, but he couldn't hold on out of the straps. And when he couldn't hold on out of the straps, after he felt what he felt in round one, I think he kind of knew, like, it's going to be a tough day for me.
Yeah, I kind of seen that when he wasn't in the strap, he almost had something for you. I think it was because he was able to fully commit, get that shoulder behind, and it almost looked like it kind of surprised you there. It happened so quick and all that, and I think you realized after that you cannot let him get that shoulder fully committed. And then once that strap was on, there was no way you would let him get in that track at all.
Exactly. So yeah, it's interesting, because I always thought about giving people those in-depth explanations, because a match is only for a short little period of time, but in the puller's mind, there is so much that you're thinking. Like it's amazing. Just even talking about it now, it's like, how did I think about all of this stuff in that short amount of time? Like it's wild to think about. It really is. It's wild.
Well, guys, if you guys haven't got the pay-per-view yet, you could still go order it. Get over to the High Five Arm Wrestling Club and definitely purchase that. Go check it out for yourself. It was an epic event. So many great matches on there. You guys definitely won't be sorry if you go and order that now, for sure. So I want to ask you, as far as like recovery now, and that was a pretty demanding match on you. What does your process look like now to get all healed up and ready for your next?
So, like, I haven't touched a thing since Saturday, because I did a lot of after pulling too. I did 2 hours of after pulling, and this is the first time that I actually did after pulling, like knuckles up 2 and knuckles up 3. I couldn't do any after pulling because my right was shot after Tom Holland and Mario. Like my right was in pain, bad pain, not good pain, pain. And this is like the first time where my elbow is coming back healthy enough that I was able to after pull after it. So I'm very happy and very thankful for that. So I think my elbow is in a really good shape right now. But my arms are still sore since Saturday. So I'm not going to touch a weight for maybe another week. And then I'll slowly get back into it. Yeah, it's just letting everything heal up. I don't want any of the micro tears that, happen during regular lifting and matches like this. I don't want any of them to get any worse. I want to let them heal up and wait until I feel soreness free, which, like I said, maybe another 5 days or so to a week, and then I'll start getting back into it. And we'll be prepping for the next match, whatever that may be.
Now, do you do any like heat or ice compression on yourself after that?
So one of the sponsors, Free Sleeve, I had them on for the past few days during the night. Yeah, the Free Sleeve is awesome. It just really starts to dull and diminish of any of that soreness and inflammation that you have in the elbows. And yeah, they really give you some relief. There's no question about it. And they're the awesome thing about them is one, they don't get icy or anything like that, like to your skin. So it's just that fabric stays super dry, and they're super cold and super flexible. Like it really is a really good product. Not for nothing, those Free Sleeves are really good product.
Yeah, I seen you guys got a whole sponsor bag. I was jealous. I wanted one of those, like at the big purple backpack, and it looked like it was filled with all kinds of stuff. I seen all the gear that you got. You got shirts, you got sweatshirts. I mean, you
These
guys just
headphones,
yeah,
these
the
headphones
headphone.
came
Yeah, so
too. Yeah.
tell us the list. What did you guys get as from the sponsors and all?
So yeah, so we got these headphones from Guitar Center. Like I said, we got a bunch of gear, which was a few shirts, the sweatshirts. We got the Free Sleeve. We got some what else? These wake up sticks. So I don't use them, but they're these it's like smelling salt sticks. So we got those. Yeah, I got to go back and look at it because there was a bunch of other things in there that came with the whole swag, and then there you go, Free Sleeve. That's it. And like I said, the first time I ever used them was I think we first got them at Knuckles Up 2, and it's an excellent product. Like I said, it's absolutely excellent. They go in the freezer, but they don't get any icy film over them. So it's not like, when you put an ice pack on your arm, it's like beyond super cold and it'll like stick to your skin and you'll feel like you're getting like frostbite or something like that. Like, no, like the fabric is excellent and they're super flexible. Like it's a really good product.
You should definitely make a video with them and kind of show everybody your recovery process with that. I think that'd be a great idea and definitely help out the sponsor for sure.
Yeah, and I actually on my Instagram, I have a link for my free sleeve where you use my link to buy the product, and one, it helps me out, but two, it's obviously getting purchases through Free Sleeve, so it's excellent. So, but yeah, I should put out a few more videos on that just to sort of display the product and how easy it is to use.
Yeah, and I have to say, man, I definitely noticed you on the after pull table. I got a bunch of videos, which I actually put one of them out. It was only one of your after pull matches today. It was against Toshi, and you were putting on just a clinic after. And I'm just like, damn, dude, he just pulled this crazy super match, and now he's taking on his super heavyweight dude, and getting some pins on him. And we know Toshi is an absolutely animal from Japan, dude, and
He is
really, really strong with a crazy side pressure hit and all. And yeah, you were very impressive, bro. And I'm going to be putting out more footage of you and after pull in the next coming days.
awesome.
So definitely check out the channel, everybody, and you'll get to see Jason in action going against some of the studs that were on the after pull table. And I just couldn't believe it. I just kept saying to myself, I'm like, how is he still going? You're going for 2 hours after. I know I was gone for like the first hour when the after pull first started. I came in a little late and all, and when I seen you, and I'm like, Jesus, and just to know that you were pulling for the full hour before that, and you still did what you did was very impressive, bro.
Like I said, like my right elbow has been healthier, and I was super happy and super relieved. Like one, that I could do the after pull with my right arm, but then, like I said, two, for my elbow, I'm like, something must be going right for my elbow to be this healthy. And like, this is the healthiest my elbow has been since 2017. So I think that's also why I'm performing pretty well with my right as of recent.
I mean, this is
Has
also your fourth consecutive event. You have a pretty good score. You've only lost one, and
Mhm.
I think you're like in a good spot. You're nice and conditioned, and I mean, to see what's next. Whether you're going to try to avenge your loss, maybe not, or who you want next. Have you given that any thought?
Like people ask me that a lot, and in the past, I would chase certain guys and want certain guys, and those opportunities wouldn't really come to fruition. One, whether they needed money for that, or two, they just kind of used an insane amount of money as a way to dodge, me, because like I said, one, and I understand it from a business perspective. One, I have smaller social media, so they have a lot more to risk on their end rather than to gain. And two, they know I'm dangerous for their game. So look, I get it, but at the same time, you're gonna say you're King Kong here and you're the guy that's on top of the mountain. Like, what are you afraid of? Like, now is the time to beat me, not another year from now, not another 2 years from now. It's gonna be worse a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Like, you want to shut me up now, like not later. Now you want to shut me up. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a flawed way of thinking, but the longer they wait, better it is for me.
Who's on your radar, bro?
I see Ryan Bowen versus you in the chat. What do you think about that?
Ooh.
I'll take on Ryan. I'll gladly take on Ryan. I think it would be an awesome match. And yeah, I know, because he wants to come down to my weight class. And I saw that he posted an Instagram things, calling out top guys in the class. And I would gladly take that match. And yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting. And I think it would be really good for me. It gets me a lot of exposure. And I think it would be a lot of good exposure.
How does that match go?
I top rolled the crap out of him, and his King's move doesn't hold up.
Wow. Ryan, if you're listening, bro, and I know he definitely is listening right now, man. What do you think of a Jason Merlo match? That could be an interesting one. I'd like to see that. What do you guys think, Matt? What's your thoughts on that? It's your boy Ryan Bowen there.
Yeah, I think it would make sense because you look at the results in Knuckles Up. Ryan's coming off of a loss against Andrei Sharkovic there. Jason avenging his loss against the Australians. That happened with Mario Tambakis, but looking very, very strong in this last event. And yeah, I think it would be a good match. I think both guys are probably at that equal level. And in terms of a competitive nature, they look like they stack up really well against each other.
And I think that's a type of match that you'll see a lot of different things come into play, because Ryan is very smart. Ryan's very technical. And just like almost in the Mario match where you saw us jockeying for position a lot, like a lot. I think you're going to see that in a match against Ryan Bowen, for example. And I think you're going to see a lot of different things come into play in that type of match if it were to happen.
Hell yeah. What's up, Pablo? What's up, Isaiah? Stizzy? What's up, guys? How you guys all doing? Thank you for tuning in. And I want to know what everybody's thoughts in the chat are. Who gets the win between Ryan Bowen and Jason Merlo? Definitely post that up. We're definitely interested. And Israel, who do you think would be the favorite in that match?
That would be such an exciting match, dude. I'm rooting for Jason in that match. I really want him to win. That would be crazy. I know that Mario Tambakis and Ryan Bowen are like rivals back in Australia. And I think Ryan has the winning record on Mario, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Matt would know better than I. But It would be really interesting to see how he deals with Jason's hand. I really think that would be a problem for Ryan specifically.
Matt, what do you think would happen in that match? What do you think the ending score and who gets the win?
Well, I just messaged Ryan then, and I said Jason Merlo would like a match with you on the Armwrestling Buzz crew. We'll see if he reads it or not, and maybe you can pop in. But in terms of the match being competitive, I think it could go either way. Really, I think both guys are very technical, very smart arm wrestlers, and I'd love to see like a first to four, because I think that the change in tactics that would happen each round would be worth moving it up and having the ability to, like, maybe Jason's top rolling and it's working 3 times in a row, but then in that third round Ryan feels something, and then you get the opportunity for a comeback. And it's like, I love first to fours, because you do get those moments of strategy where it's like somebody has to rely on, maybe their ace is now exhausted and they have to go to a backup plan, or they have to adjust to what their opponent is doing. And I see that being a perfect and ideal match where you got 2 guys that are very, very adept at technique and strategy, and being able to employ different strategies between rounds.
Ryan would love 4 rounds too, first to 4 too. That definitely plays into his favor. But like, preparing for a type of match like that, for me, I would just prepare how I prepared for Tom Holland, and because I had a feeling that Tom Holland match was going to be an endurance game, and I would make sure for a match against Ryan, my endurance would be up just like I would be in that Tom Holland match. So I'd probably be in the best endurance shape possible so that I could go the long game.
Pablo wants to know, Jason, what weight would that be at?
I'll take Ryan at any weight.
Okay. What weight has he been saying? I think it was 85 kilogram or 90 kilogram. Where was it that he wanted to lock in? Do you know?
Yeah. Well, he weighed in at like 99 for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
event, which is a lot higher than what he'd been saying he'd got down to recently. So maybe he'd put on some weight in the last week or two. But I think he was down in the low 90s. So yeah, I'm not sure where he is at the moment, because it seems like he's floating quite a bit and fluctuating quite significantly, like almost 8 to 9 kilos, like within a fortnight. So I don't know. He might be looking around the 90 kilo mark, which is around 200 pounds, I believe.
That's what he was talking about during the few days that we were there, right? He ultimately wants to test out 95 and 90, and he said even the long-term game is 85, which I think that'll be hard for him to get down to 85. I can't see him getting down to 85, but I think 95 is probably going to be where we see a probably best pound for pound shape Ryan Bowen. I believe, just from looking at his build and his size and everything, I think would be best to see him at 95.
Pablo's saying that would be a mistake, that you need to set a weight, Jason. Do you agree with that?
I don't. Not from what I saw with his match with Baek Sung Yeol. I wouldn't mind a heavy Ryan. I don't think a heavy Ryan is actually more dangerous than the Ryan we saw. I actually think a heavy Ryan might possibly, like, the long game for a heavy Ryan. I think he'd probably prefer first to 3 instead of first to 4. I think he might gas himself out a little bit, because we were talking the past few days and he said, yeah, he felt heavy just walking around, and like just him bending down to tie his shoes, like it was like a little bit of extra work when he was that big and stuff like that. So I don't think just because he's heavier means that'll be a direct correlation in power and everything else. Because he's been actually advertising that his numbers are at or a little bit better than what he was when he was heavier. So I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think it's a big deal on weight. But for the sake of making a weight cap and all that stuff, like, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'm just saying, look, I'd pull a Ryan at any weight, and for me, I don't think it makes a huge margin or a huge difference.
What's up, Ivan Marrero? What's up, Luca? How you guys doing? Crazy Uncle Jim in the house. Ryan Grondin, how you doing, bro? Want your guys' thoughts, guys. Let me know who do you think takes that win, Ryan Bowen versus Jason Merlo, and if you guys would like to see that match. And then Jason, let's just throw out another name out there. Is there anybody else that you'd want to pull? Other than, we know you want the match with Ryan, but is there somebody else out there?
I mean, look, eventually down the line, and I don't think I'm there yet for him, but a guy like Craig is the top of the food chain for our weight class in North America. I love the fact that I'm getting this international exposure, especially with a lot of guys that, haven't really known too much about, like Zhu Ming-young, but he's the number one 95 kilo guy, both right and left-handed in Korea, and winning like Japanese nationals recently. So I like getting those opportunities. But look, yeah, like if I had to pick like a cream of the crop, like somebody like a Craig is. Look, I know what he felt like last year in the round robin. I know what he feels like now, and I see that his style is a very tough match for me. It really is. Stylistically, it's a very hard match for me. So if the fact that I could get an opportunity against him and I could stop him, like that would tell me that I've made strides in my training. So somebody like a Craig, yeah, I would love to dethrone a Craig.
Okay, and what did you think of Craig's match with James Wall? That thing was absolutely insane. What was your
That
thoughts
pushed
after that?
Craig that pushed Craig to the limit, man. Oh my god, that was a match. And Craig is so dominant with his hook, his high hook, and those double hits, especially when he's right at the pad, and then that little double hit. Like he is so efficient with that. And that's what he's known for. And he's advertised this on podcasts where he has a strong top roll, but he never has to revert to it. He had to sort of do that top roll in round 4. So that tells me, like, one, he gassed out a little bit, and he also felt threatened, obviously, on the inside game with James. So that just goes to show that James is a freaking animal.
He's a
Because I
brick
know
wall,
how
bro, just as
he's a brick
advertised.
wall.
That
Exactly.
was the best thing you could say, bro. He was a brick wall, and I think the whole
Yep.
place was in shock when Craig started going for the top roll. I know I was. I did
Yeah.
not expect that at all. So
Exactly. So that goes a lot. That's a nod at where James's level is and how prepared he came in for this match. And yeah, that guy is serious to put Craig on the ropes like that.
for real. And I want to highlight this from Pablo. He says, not only about winning political, if there is no weight set, it's super heavy. So what is next for me or for you? Do you want a match against Pablo? I think
No,
that's what
thank you,
he's saying.
Pablo. I think you'll take my arm with you and you'll eat it for lunch, Pablo.
I love it, man. I love it. So I wanted to ask you for somebody like trying to get out there, like advice for some arm wrestlers trying to come up and to compete at the highest level. What's some tips you could give them?
One, I think the biggest thing and probably the easiest way is having big social media presence, right? That is not something that I'm very strong at, and it's not something I'm so comfortable at. I'm getting more comfortable, and I'm throwing out more and more content out there as I get more and more comfortable. But overall, one, get a big social media presence because ultimately that's what people look for, because then you could sell a lot more pay-per-views and you can get a lot more spotlight on you. But I'd say the main thing is be who you are. Don't try to act like somebody you're not, because I think one of the biggest things for having a consistent fan base or having a loyal fan base is just being consistent. And the only way you can be consistent is by being yourself. So don't try to act like somebody that you're not just because you think, oh, this guy talks so much smack about people, so maybe I should take on that persona and start talking smack. Like, that's good if you could stay consistent with it. You can't just do it and then all of a sudden back out into something else, because then people are not going to understand that personality. So I think the biggest thing is lean into who you are, be comfortable with that, and that's how you're going to consistently grow. And whatever that is, whether that's a loud personality or a soft spoken to yourself personality, just be who you are and take care of business. That's it.
Hell yeah. I wanted to ask you, brother, what do you plan on doing for your social media, man? Because obviously you don't have to do much. I mean, you're the only guy that's been on all 4 cards with Knuckles Up. Obviously, you got your platform right there. But I'd like to see a little more content getting out there, a little more you getting out there, some more. Do you have any plans to step up the social media game, or maybe possibly get hire in somebody to help you out with it?
Yeah, there's a possibility of that. I'm starting to think more and more into that. And, as I'm starting to get to know some people and, like I met somebody in particular this past weekend that I'm pretty impressed with how they're able to put together the content and stuff like that. And that's a decision I need to make. And I think the biggest thing is just collecting um, that my training stuff, and simply saying, you know something that I think is so rudimentary, or something that I think that is so like common out there. It's just using regular arm wrestling tools and doing some just wrist curls or something like that. Like, it's amazing the amount of people that find that interesting to see what you're doing as an arm wrestler. And like, I got to stop putting aside and saying like, oh, everybody has seen this, and it's like, no, but they want to see me do it. So I'm starting to get more used to that, and just simply pressing record while I'm working out. And yeah, so few things. One, you're going to see me put out more content. That's number one. Two, I'm going to decide whether I make that step to make it official for sending this footage to somebody to put together for real deal content. Like, I'll see when I make that step, but it might be sooner rather than later, because I do see the benefit of that.
Yeah, man. I would just put out a post. I mean, you just met somebody, but I would put out a post and see if anybody would want to help you out and all. Because, I get it a lot of times. People want to just help out with editing and all that. And, they're not looking to charge. They're just, looking to get their name out there as well. And if you could give them some advertising and all, I helped out
Sure.
with Jerry Cataract. I did it with Travis and all when I first got into the sport. And I think you're at that position now. Obviously, you're going to be on all these Knuckles Up cards. You're getting a platform, and you're showing that you could win all the time and all. So that's very big. So I hope to see more content coming out from you, and shoot out your platforms right now. This way everybody in the chat could get over there and check you out.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Paul. So yeah, I mean, the biggest one is Instagram for sure, where a lot of the stuff stems from. So Jason the Fine Wine Merlo, find me on Instagram, reach out to me. I'll answer messages and all that stuff. And then same thing on YouTube, Jason the Fine Wine Merlo. That's where more of the lengthier stuff is going to get put together and released on there. So reach out to me. And then I also have my Facebook fan page, which I'm pretty happy about in such a short amount of time, since I guess Knuckles Up 2 or something like that. I already have 1,300 followers. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Not too bad for such a short period of time. So yeah, so Jason the Fine Wine Merlo on Facebook, my fan page. So yeah, reach out to me and I will interact and give you guys some more stuff to bite on and chew on.
Hell yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on today, bro. It was a pleasure to have you on and to see you perform again this past weekend and see your success. It was just amazing. And just like I told everybody else, I got a couple more videos of him in the after poll. We'll be putting that out on my channel. So definitely check that out. We got some good matchups on there. And yeah, thank you for coming on today, brother. Appreciate it.
Paul, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me, and to everybody out there that continues to support me and basically is the reason why I'm getting these opportunities. Thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to continue giving some good stuff out there for you guys. So thanks again, Paul. I appreciate it.
Have a great night, Jason.
Take care, guys.
So yeah, guys, before we bring on our next guest, we got Mario Tambakis. He's about to be coming on along with Robbie Russell. We're going to be breaking down their matches as well. I just wanted to hear from you guys. I wanted to hear what your thoughts of the overall production at Knuckles Up. What was your favorite match? Let's start off with you, Israel.
The events, they just get better and better. I think, Knuckles Up started at a high place and they're managing to just polish it, and everything just runs smoother. The flow of the event is better. The athletes are so much more comfortable. They're starting to look like, like real superstars up there. And I think Knuckles Up is just going to help take arm wrestling in North America to that next level that we've always needed it to. In terms of the matches, there was one that really stood out to me, one that was just completely unexpected and I thought was more than likely not going to go that way, and that was Mario Tambakis versus Plamen Dimitrov. That match was crazy. That round one, when I saw, Plamen go into his hook and start getting desperate, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, the match was basically an example of that the whole rest of the way through. Did Mario even get like a legit pin without like a foul? I don't know if he was able to or not, but his statement was made. I think the door should be knocking for opportunities for Mario across the whole world after a win like that.
Yeah, the energy, the place was just in awe when that happened. And I actually lost my voice during that match, bro. I was just screaming for Mario so loud. And, he actually came up to me after and he said he just appreciated all the support and he heard me the whole time. And I was just so excited because just like you said, man, I didn't expect it to go that route. And Mario really showed out that day for real. Matt, what was your thoughts on that match, man? Fellow Australian just putting on a show and just kind of shocking the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And we knew it was going to be a massive test for Mario going against somebody of Plumman's name. And when that match got announced to start with, it was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a big test for Mario. But, if he's up to the challenge, he's going to step up to it. But what a big year he's had. I mean, winning the Arizona State Championships, and then we had a win against Jason Merlo as well, and now beating Plumman. Yeah, he is on an absolute tear, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a really high caliber match for his next one. But in terms of the overall event, I think that they did a great job, and it seems to be the standard that they're setting for promotions in North America for arm wrestling. Their production looked fantastic. I know they had probably only two things that really didn't go their way technically on the night, but apart from that, everything else went well. They had great camera angles, they had good lighting, the audio was great, the matches went really well. We had a great on-screen graphics card which was constantly being updated. In terms of the matches themselves, I think they were all very entertaining and worth watching, and definitely for the price. I mean, we used your code, Paul, and got it down to $14.99 US. And in terms of like a quality arm wrestling card, Knuckles Up is definitely setting the standard as to one of the world leaders in terms of their production.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. And you guys don't know there was some problems going on. So let me first start off at the beginning of the day. I wake up in the morning and I go on my Facebook and I'm locked out of my Facebook account. And I've been promoting like crazy for Knuckles Up. And the last 2 weeks before, anything I was putting up with Knuckles Up, people were reporting and as spam and all, and they were taking everything down. And it was just real frustrating. And it was only my Knuckles Up post. So I knew there was something behind that. But when I woke up that day of, that Saturday, and I was just locked out completely of my my Facebook. I couldn't post up the pay-per-view. It just was so frustrating. It just kept telling me I had to confirm my identity. I went through the process like 10 times. I mean, over a couple hours span, I just was trying everything. I had making live videos. I put my ID in there and it would open up for like a couple of seconds and then it would lock again. And I had no idea what was going on. I called up some of my other fellow YouTube friends and social media guys, and they were saying just go through the process and it should get correct itself. Never did. So I knew there was something going on. Well, I get over to the event, and Knuckles Up is it's like an hour before, and they came up to me and they were like, yo, somebody's trying to hack the stream right now for pay-per-view. They're sending in all fraudulent credit card numbers and it's freezing up the whole system and people aren't able to buy the pay-per-view, and they just couldn't believe this was going on. And we're just like, wow, like there's like something's going on behind all this. And I know there was something coordinated and all. Well, for the last few days I've been trying everything, sending emails and all. Finally get in touch with somebody today from Facebook, and I was like, what is going on? I'm locked out of here. And I keep going through the process, and they go and they look and they're like, there's been over 1,000 entries of your password. And I'm like, how could that possibly be? They said, well, obviously somebody's put in a program with a bot and they're trying to crack your code. This is probably some work of the hackers. Facebook recognized it and they just were locking at your account. So every time you would get it reopened, it would lock out again because the bot is just hitting nonstop. So I was just like, I can't even believe this is going on. So I talked with them. They gave me a direct number. And, if this ever happens again, they also showed me another thing for security that I could do. So I did everything now maxed out, but I'm also going to build up my other accounts and I'll have a backup Facebook account, Mr. Italia. And I'm also going to start building up the Instagram. But somebody is just straight up going after us. They're trying to, shut me up as, promoting the event. They went after Knuckles Up. I'm actually going to have the Knuckles Up guys on next week. I wanted them to just kind of like calm down. They had a big event and all. So next week they're going to come on. They'll tell us the whole story and kind of get their feedback of everything. But yeah, definitely something is going on, and we are definitely getting attacked. And we don't know where it's coming from, but we have some ideas and all. So I'll definitely keep everybody posted with that. But, it was just an amazing event, just the energy there. There was so many people there. Meeting all the athletes was just, great time, meeting all the Bulgarians and talking with all of them. And, we got a bunch of interviews coming up. They're all going to come on and tell their stories and, what their whole, just their whole take of the whole weekend and everything. And then we had an amazing after poll, and, we had the big dinner. It was just, a fun-filled weekend. Couldn't get any better than it was. Definitely, if you guys get a chance, you guys want to witness this in person. I know January 25th is the next one. And, that some of the matches I think were announced, and like I said, Knuckles Up guys will come on and tell us exactly what they got planned for the next one. So looking forward to that. But Matt, what was your favorite match of the night, brother?
It was definitely James Wall and Craig Tullier. I was just so disappointed. I think everybody was, the way that it ended that last round, ending on fouls, was just like, oh no, can they just go again anyway? Like,
Yeah.
but you could see the power on that table when both those guys got into that hook, and it was like lucky they bolted it to the floor, because that thing was going to rip in half. It was like the force that was coming through that from both men was absolutely insane, and that's the sort of matches that you want to see, is when both guys just dig in and it's like power on power. It's like, well, let's see who's stronger.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite, and I was in shock. I did not expect that. I know James is real strong. I've seen him before at Arm Guides. I've seen him at Arm Wars, but I just, I wasn't so sure he was going to be able to go inside with Craig and do what he did, and then to see Craig's face and just totally redlined, and then I'm telling you, when he first started top rolling, I couldn't even believe this was going on. I'm like, holy shit. But Craig showed his experience that day, man. 35 years of arm wrestling. He had to change lanes on the spot. He did what it had to be done to get the win. And that was just so impressive. And just to hear the crowd in person, it was just crazy. It was definitely an amazing event. But can you just hold on one second, you guys? Just, give us some more takes of some of the other matches you like. I'll be right back.
Absolutely, that's fine. Rizal, what did you think of that match, of the Craig Tullier James Wall match?
If it wasn't for the Plumman match, that would have been my match. I mean, that is just crazy, like James Wall is an animal. To put Craig Tullier through the ringer, a guy that is usually making most guys look like their joint integrity is not good enough, I mean, it's crazy, honestly. I mean, the dude really showed out with that match, even though it did end the way that it did on fouls. I still think that James Wall is a dude we're going to be seeing a lot from, especially the way he's been showing out lately.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure. What about the Ryan Bowen and Andrei Sharkovich match?
See, that's a big match, man. That I was really hoping that I'm glad Paul came back, because this is one that I wanted to get his opinion on. I was really thinking that match was going to be a bit closer, man. I was thinking that, Ryan is crafty and he's going to pull some stuff out and probably get a few stops, make the match interesting. I mean, especially after his match with with Ron Bath, I was thinking, his power level is really getting up there. But Andrei Sharkovich, man, that guy is just impressive right now. The dude is on a tear right now.
Well, I could tell right away when I first seen him. I mean, he was up about 10, 15 pounds. Like I knew that it was a different Andre that showed up. I've got to practice with him. He lives right near my house in Florida. And, I've seen him on the table and all. And when I first seen him in person, I was just like, oh my God, bro, holy shit. I mean, the dude, he always looked insane, but this was a whole nother level. And I just remember talking to Ryan right after, and he couldn't get over the strength of the hand, and the wrist was just on another level that he wasn't expecting. So and Brian just kept telling me he was peaked out. you know, he was in the best shape of his life, and he was expecting, you know, to really, you know, give him something, and he kept trying to change different lanes and all, and just nothing was working and all. So he was just outclassed that day. And, you know, Andre is just the last year, his trajectory has just been straight up. It was just amazing to see in person. Matt, what was your thoughts on that match? Were you surprised at all on how dominant Andre got the win?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Ryan was going to be the underdog because of the injuries and everything that he was facing going in with the shoulder. I know that a couple of weeks prior to the match, he'd said that, look, everything seems to be okay, that he was able to train the way that he had been training previously, but it was always going to be a big ask going against somebody who's got that much momentum going in Andrei Sharkovic. I think the result was the one that we were expecting to see, but he did get a couple of moments there. He got a few little stops and things going, but in terms of his offense, it never really sort of got going for him.
Well, I want to introduce today's other two special guests that we got on there. We have Mario Tambakis and Robbie Russell. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
What's going on, guys?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
So, Mario, we were just talking about your big match, man, and holy shit, what an impressive performance against Plowman. I mean, the
Thank
whole
you.
place's mouth were just dropped at, you know, nobody was expecting what you did. It was a very dominant performance. So, want to kind of get your thoughts on how did you assess your performance at Knuckles Up 4?
Like I said in the press conference, I was pretty nervous going into that match, and even just before we were walking out, I was a nervous wreck, short of breath, just trying to get my bearings right. And then from the entrance to the first round, it's honestly all a haze. But what I felt in that first round was he's not low handing me, so I can get deep and I can get a lot of coverage around his pronator, especially because they let me grip low at Knuckles Up. Thank God. So I got that, and because I studied pretty much every one of his wins and every one of his losses in the last 5 to 7 to 8 years, I noticed that he always has trouble pinning right on the beat, right on his A side, right near the pad. So I thought to myself, if I can turn his pronator up and if I can put enough pressure on his bicep and be more defensive, but try to fight it on the way down, I should have an easy time going through the match, and that's what happened. And then after that, from round 1 all the way to round 3, it was just the same thing over and over again, and I didn't really get tired.
Yeah, I seen that, bro. I kept looking at you and you looked fresh as can be. And he was just like redlining. He was sweating hard. It was like he was in a struggle. And that's when I realized, like, yo, Mario's got this, bro. He's got the answer. He's able to get the stop on him. And you kind of were just holding him off. And, you know, he kept elbow fouling because he didn't know what to do. He kind of got to this one spot and, you know, you were a wall right there and he couldn't get through you. Is that what you were feeling on the table?
Exactly what I was feeling. Yeah. No matter how many surges he was, it was throwing at me, it wasn't really going anywhere. It was just bouncing pretty much, but it kept hitting that lock right below, 2 inches from the pad.
Now, were you in shock in round 1 when that happened? Like, did you expect that, or?
I was hoping for it, not expecting it, but it managed to work out,
Dude, I think you shocked everyone, including him. I mean,
I was
crazy.
Heavy underdog, right? No one was expecting me to even have a chance. So I guess that's what made it a good match, right? Regardless of the elbow fouls.
Yeah. Matt, what was your thoughts after watching that in round 1?
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously nervous for Mario going in against somebody of Plumman's caliber, and it was going to be a big ask if he was going to get the win there. But on the table, I know you said you were nervous walking out. You didn't look nervous once the match started. You were very calm and control, and I could hear somebody yelling something out halfway through the match, and you've looked out and acknowledged them and just gone, no, I've got this. I'm all right. I know what's going on. I'm feeling comfortable. Was that Paul that was yelling out?
Well, Paul was yelling the entire time. It was great. It was so good. I'm sad that my mic wasn't working, because you could hear me talk to Tim Talmadge from Armwrestling Entertainment. My corner flew out just to be my corner man. That guy is amazing. Anyway, you could hear me talking to him saying, "No, I've got this. I'm pretty comfortable down there," and just reinforcing what you guys saw.
Yeah, it looked
Rob,
like he was really struggling. Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. I was just going to say, it looked like he was really struggling with the distance because it looked like your elbow, like you were starting right on the edge of the front of the pad.
Hmm.
And he was struggling with that distance that every time he got near a pin, his elbow was popping off the back. And I felt like it was a very smart move of yours to start in that position because it sort of limited his ability to be able to pin in that last 2 inches, like you were saying. And you could see him getting sort of confused as to like, well, what do I do here? Like this, I'm winning I'm pulling exactly where I want to go, but I'm coming off the back every time.
Yeah,
And then I think it was the third round. He hit, and he didn't really hit for it. He sort of stayed in the middle, and sort of like you could see him.
that was second round. That was second round. He had 2 elbow fouls. He was going to get 1 more if he did the same thing again. And he sat into like a defensive top roll, but he couldn't get through my fingers. So he sat on the back of the pad. I reached forward, but my elbow was almost right on the front, and all I did was edge, and then managed to open him up and then get an actual pin, which was nice.
Robbie, did you get to see that match?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts, bro?
Me and Mario, we talked on the bus ride over, like, and we both agreed, like, our matches were, like, we were huge underdogs. Like, nobody thought that we'd win, but what if we did? You know, like, everybody's going to be blown. So sitting backstage, watching this unfold, we're all like, dude, he's got a spot there. Like, he's going to pull this off if he keeps going for it. And sure enough, like, Playman just could not get away or find a way to just finish him. And it was just that close every single time. And he did exactly what I would do. I mean, you're going to have to get through it one way or another. And he couldn't do it. So he just held out and got the job done. But that one pin that's the satisfying part, that you actually got to pin him.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, he had no other lanes to really use except for that defensive top roll, which I'm glad he tried it, but it didn't work.
We got a question from Chris. He wants to know who's Rickard face nowadays. Anyone we know? We know that he just got on the next Knuckles Up card going down January 25th. He was actually on the halftime show. He came up on the screen from Australia, and him and Don Underwood went kind of back and forth with each other, and I believe they are now locked in for January 25th. So how do you guys think that's going to go? Matt, I want to ask you, because I think you train with Rickard and all, and how do you think he does against Don Underwood?
We don't train. Was it, sorry, me or Matt?
Either one of you.
You say something, Mario.
You know more than I do when it comes to Rickard.
I'll say
you're more up to date.
You give your opinion on that. I know you guys have had some absolute wars in the past, which we'd love to see as well. But we were very happy to get the opportunity for Rickard to go against Don Underwood. Originally, it was actually going to be on this card. It was going to be Knuckles Up 4. But there was a little bit of scheduling issues that we couldn't get it happening that soon. But we were very happy because Don Underwood is one of those guys who's full of charisma and has the ability to talk and sell a match. And he's been everywhere, like nearly every weekend. I think he's out there promoting a show with World Series of Arm Wrestling, and he's all over the arm wrestling space at this point in time. He's on a bit of a comeback, and obviously, he's one of the legends of arm wrestling. And so for a young up and coming like Rickard Bornman to go against somebody of Don Underwood's caliber, it makes sense. It's a great matchup for both guys, and yeah, we can't wait to see it. So we'll also see Rickard Bornman prior to that at the AWE Grand Prix 2, October 27th here in Adelaide. He'll be competing in the AWE tournament to defend his title, which he won at the last Grand Prix earlier this year. And we can't wait to see him compete there as well.
Matt, where can we all check that out?
It'll be live free on our YouTube channel on AWE YouTube. So the time will still be announced. I think it should be about 12 p.m. Adelaide time, which we'll update you on that and everything. But 27th of October. Unfortunately, because we had to change the date back by 1 week, we have had to have Sarah Bachman. She did drop out because of scheduling issues, but we've replaced Sarah, unfortunately, for that because it was originally October 20th, but then Propanjali was supposed to be in September, but they changed their dates to October, which meant Ryan and I will still be in India on that original date. But Keziah Harrington is our #1 Australian female arm wrestler, and she's going to be taking on Ashley Hoeta instead for the main event of that.
Oh, very nice. That's the bench press champion, right? She has like the world champion record and all.
Yeah, it's like 300 and something kilos.
Wow, that is just nuts. And Mario, what's your thoughts on Don Underwood versus Rickard Borman match?
I think it's going to be a really, really hard test for Rickard. I believe Don Underwood has the style to beat Rickard, but I've seen how Rickard's training at the moment, and I don't know, that guy hasn't even gotten close to his true potential. So I'm really excited to see where he ends up by January, especially if he's consistent with his training.
Robbie, how do you think that's going to go, man, going against a legend of our sport, Don Underwood, and Rickard only being in a very short amount of time? How long has it been, actually, Matt?
About 18 months.
Wow. So after hearing that, Robbie, what's your thoughts, man? Does he have a shot against a legend like Don Underwood?
I mean, I think in any match, somebody when you talk about strength in what they say that Rickard has, but experience is so vital. Like if you can just make somebody work or put them in a position where they have to struggle. I mean, like my match, for instance, if you're able to put somebody in a position like that where they just have to work so much harder and you're comfortable, I'm going to take the guy with the experience, especially if the power is, similar. One could be a little bit stronger, but if the power is similar, you can't beat experience. Like he's going to know everything that's going to be thrown at him. So I mean, how do you go against Don? Unless Rickard can just straight power through him, like side pressure, and his hand is that good. It's really hard to get away from that. But Don's a beast, man. When he's on, Don is really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this match. This one's going to be an exciting one. Definitely going to want to tune in for that one. And Dan Plexman has a good question. He goes, where do you guys think it's more important to be strongest, when you're above your pin pad or your opponent's pin pad? Let's start off with Robbie on this one.
I think that is a stylistic opinion, because if you're somebody that's more offensive, obviously you want to be stronger, center the table to your opponent's pad. For me, I would consider myself more defensive. So obviously I like being able to stop. And if I can defend my pad, I think that is the best option. I mean, look at Mario's and Playman's match. Obviously he couldn't pin him there or whatever, and it's what won him the match. So for me, that's what I would say.
Mario, are you on the same thing? Because obviously that's how you got the win against Plowman just recently. Do you think it's more important to be stronger near your pin pad?
Yeah, I agree. I think defense is king. I really do.
Yeah, and you definitely proved it this past weekend for sure.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is your view of competing at Knuckles Up compared to other events you've been a part of, Mario?
Well, the only other promotion I've been to, super match promotion I've been to, was AWE, and it's similar treatment. You just get treated like a VIP the entire time, and you don't have to worry about spending extra money. They feed you, they accommodate you, they fly you out, and everyone, and they're super professional. Same thing. We'll talk about Arm Sports Entertainment. They bring me out, twice a year. Same treatment, just VIP. Tim's, I get to stay with him. He feeds me. He does everything for me. You know what I mean? So it's all in all, it's the same treatment I've received from my personal experience. But I think because Knuckles Up are a bit broader and they're all over the US and internationally now, I think they're the best in the business at the moment.
Tell me, what was your favorite thing you got as part of your swag bag? I seen that purple backpack, and it seemed to be packed with all kinds of goodies in there.
I love the bag. Honestly, I use it for my gym bag now, so I'll definitely get some use out of it.
Very nice. And Robbie, same question for you, brother. What was your experience like compared to other events that you've been at with the Knuckles Up experience?
So I got to be a part of the Challenger Series, and it was amazing, amazing time. Chance and Dylan, they were at the time what I thought was absolutely what every athlete should get. And Knuckles Up is the same way. I mean, in terms of quality, how they treat you, the respect you get, I don't see a way that you could possibly do any better than that. Because us as athletes, we got everything that we dream of. You know, like the way we're treated, it's just top notch, brother. And they do an absolutely amazing job. The way they think of you, like they don't ask more of you than is necessary, and they give you everything they possibly have. Like that is what makes you feel special.
Hell yeah. And how do you feel your performance was at Knuckles Up 4 against Saveton? Because I got to say, bro, watching that and to see that round one, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, Robbie's dream is now coming true. Like, I think the whole place was in shock. I know I was screaming my head off when you got that win, bro. I was so proud of you, man. So what was your
Man,
thoughts on it?
I trained my ass off for this. Like I didn't know exactly what I was going because it's his style. You don't know what to do until you feel it. It's really hard to explain. So I trained my ass off. I probably was absolutely the best I've ever been. And I know everybody says that, but literally Saturday I felt like I could beat every single person in the room. That's the way I felt. Where my mindset was at. Like I was ready to go to war. I was going to die there if it took that. Round one, I was just ready. What I felt, I was like, oh, somebody say go, and I just went for it. Round two, buckle goes on. I'm just like, it's a little different. Like just he's loading different on me and everything. And that buckle, it never felt right. And if I could do it over again, I swear I would. Before I, try to get all those restarts, I would let him have round two. That way I can give him the buckle because I could not rotate at all with that buckle. And that's the one thing that I just keep coming back to. Like maybe if I would have just laid down there and not just killed myself trying to pin him, maybe it looks different. But all respect to him. I mean, he took me out back and whooped my ass. Like the man is the master for a reason.
What did he change up on you after that round one? Obviously, he made some adjustments or something. What was
I
actually?
think I've not went back and watched it, so I can't really tell you exactly what he did different from the first. I just feel like I hit him and didn't give him the opportunity to get what he normally wants because I could feel him loading back, but I got more of my cup in rotation to finish him. That's like when I can access that, I'm considerably stronger versus my hand like this. Don't get me wrong, I'm strong there, but that's a lot different. For me, I feel like when he was able to use his legs and post up with his hammer, he feels like he's lifting your arm up the entire time while also dragging back. Because when you come forward trying to get more of him, you're losing ground on him, and that's why your hand slowly creeps back, and it almost feels like an impossible task to beat this man. But he's beatable, but it's very hard.
What would you do different if you had to do it over again? Because I definitely noticed what you were saying when it just looked like his arm just kept getting higher and higher. When you think it couldn't get any higher, it was. It just looked insane. Like it was like he's been in that position so many times. He just knew what to do.
Like I said, if I could do it over again, I would have not fought. After I knew that I was in a bad spot and I couldn't really climb and get more, I would have just let him have round two. Instead of, getting 3 restarts and basically having, 4 matches in one round, I would have laid down to him and tried for a better setup because by the time I got to round 3, I was getting there. I just That's what I would do with him is I would lay down and let him have round 2 and go at it completely different with round 3 when he's got the buckle.
What was
You can
your
get more height without the buckle with that particular strap.
What was your reaction after the first round getting that pin? I seen the smile on your face, but
Trust
you
me.
also weren't celebrating or, what was your reaction? What was going through your head right then? Were you
I
kind of in
wanted
shock?
to I wanted to keep my composure because I knew that he was going to do something different. I didn't want to be the guy that's, fuck yeah, I'm going to beat you now, all that shit, and then turn around and lose 3 in a row just like I did. I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to keep my head straight, and make sure that I get my hand where I wanted it, and I felt like I did. But man, he's like a bogan strip. He just sucks the fucking life out of you, and that's the hard part that people don't understand. Is like it don't matter how good you think you are, he's just gonna slowly bleed you to death, and that's the part where you're just like, man, this fucking sucks, because you in your head you know this is happening, and then we get to round 4, and I'm just like, nope, I don't want the strap. I go to slip on him, and I realize he's got my hand. I was like, it's over. I couldn't get out of his hand. I was so dead.
Mario, what was going through your head watching this match and all?
Well, I was really fired up after seeing round 1.
Yeah.
And then I started getting mic'd up, so I didn't get to catch the rest of it.
Okay.
And we headed backstage. Yeah.
Israel, you're watching the match now, and round 1, we see Robbie put on that performance and get that pin, man. What was your thoughts, and what did you think was happening next?
Honestly, after round 1, seeing even Svetan's reaction, I was thinking that, damn, Rob really has a lane there to put him in a bad day. And he does. I think the lane is legit and is there. The difference is that Svetan, when you go into the strap, see, most people that are good top rollers outside the strap, it's hard to be better than you are outside the strap, in the strap, just because of the way the dynamics work with the hand, and it's easier to get hand height when you're outside the strap. Svetan is probably better in the strap than outside of the strap, and that is just a crazy thing to watch. I remember watching the qualifier for, I think it was either one of the early East versus West or King of the Table in Dubai, where he had a match with Bozadar. And yeah. I'm pretty sure. Did you watch that, Robbie? Did you get a chance to see that match?
Mm-hmm.
That
I went back and watched all of it.
Yeah. So just to highlight one match, I think it's a perfect example that shows his tenacity in the strap. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and he has an ability that very few other people have.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Robbie was at the beginning, I think he shocked him with how strong Robbie was, and I think it's just kind of like what Robbie was saying. In round 2, he started to suck the life out of him. And I think that's where, you got your power drained. But I think the overall strength, I watched it on his face, man. He looked like he had nothing for you. Yeah, I was like, damn, Robbie's got this, bro. He's got this in the bag after this. But I think his experience just came into play, and he knew that he just had to kind of hold you in the center and kind of take it away from you. And then each round, your power level diminished, and he was able then to deal with it with the power after that. Do you think that that's kind of what happened and what his plan was?
I would say that if I pulled him different, although I did kind of side pressure, flop wrist, pin him the first round, I don't think that's the lane that's going to take to pin him. You've got to be able to contain his hand to a point like chopping down on the back of his wrist to be able to control him, because he's going to rise like in post so hard back this way, like trying to punch backwards is what it feels like. I feel like if you can control that and keep him center of the table before he gets to his side, you've got a really good chance, because you don't feel power this way at all. Like that's not where you feel it. It's all that way.
Do you think a lower grip would help? So you say you get 2 or 3 of your bottom fingers on his wrist, control his entire arm.
His hand, like for me and the experience I had, if I'm able to get somebody, especially when they're posting back, it allows me to, especially if you get that much in his hand, I think if you can get more of the power in the center of your hand versus out here, I think that there's a lane there.
Okay.
I feel like you were so close a couple of rounds to getting that shoulder behind. You were just right there, and you were about to transition to that press, but it's like he knew that you were trying to get there, and he would just keep you just like, it was like,
he's a genius,
I think like an extra centimeter, and you would get that shoulder behind, and I think you would have got another pin.
I kept just waiting and waiting, like I was trying, but every time I would come forward, I would just losing more and more, just like that. That's the hard part, because you're just like, man, I know it's there. I gotta wait, and I'm hoping that maybe he'll just get a little tired. He don't.
Dude is an
I've seen some people have a little more success with him when they don't go for a hit. They hit for position instead of hitting for the pin.
Focus on your hand control with him.
Yep.
If you've got a better inside flop press, possibly, but I'm not sure that's the lane. Mindaugas, that's probably the video I watched the most to go for success with him. Mindaugas shows that his press didn't really work, but it was more of fighting hand control and being able to, hold center without losing your hand. that was the more ideal lane. But side pressure, there is a lane there. You have to feel it to understand what you need to do.
Matt, after watching that match and all, we know that Savetan called out Engen after that. How do you think that match would go if that actually went down?
Yeah, why not? Why not call him out? I think it was a big win against Robbie Russell. I think as everyone was very surprised that Vitan was able to make that transition and change and adjustment to his strategy after that first round. I had it called for Robbie straight after that first round. I was like, that's it. It's over. It's done. Robbie's going to just crush him through here. I think I was doing the live commentary and I was like, well, Vitan's going to have something special to pull out here to be able to contain what Robbie's doing. And he did. He was able to make the adjustment and make the change. And you could see that he obviously felt that he wasn't strong enough to compete with Robbie in his power. And so rather than try to, he's just gone for the containment. And, as Robbie said, he had that punch back style, which kept Robbie from being able to really get a good cup. And every time you sort of brought your shoulder around, as you said, your wrist was flopping back further and further. And it was a slow death. But it was very incredible to watch from a technical standpoint to see somebody who made such a clever adjustment against somebody who's probably more than likely a lot stronger, a lot more powerful than he is. So, yeah, what an incredible tactical battle against and Robbie, credit to you, because I do think you were the stronger man on the day, but it was just the technical superiority that Vitan had to make in his adjustments to be able to get the win. But yeah, Engen, why not? I mean, it'd be fun. I don't think that he would do it, but whatever, why not call him out?
I mean, they both got bad blood with each other. They've been going back and forth. They were cool before, but recently Engen made a couple of posts directed right to him. And I know when I seen Savetan, that was the first thing he brought up. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to come on your show. And I definitely want to call him out. I know he did that night at Knuckles Up, but he definitely wants to keep going at him and see if he can make that happen. Robbie, after pulling him, how do you think that would go between Engen and Savetan? Who do you think would be the favorite in that match?
I've never got to really pull Engen, but it's really hard for me to imagine somebody at 180 pounds beating that man. Like, I don't know of any 180 pounder in the world that has the ability to have the power that I do in my lane. And it almost takes that, because you cannot separate that man. You can't. You've either got to blow through him sideways and get him in a vulnerable position where he's so open, but he's going to bleed you to death. Like, if you can't pin him in 2 or 3 surges, you're eventually going to foul because he don't move. It's going to take somebody with a special hand, with the technical prowess, the power, just to beat his angle. And with all the injuries and the damage he's got and his knowledge, man, I don't know if Engen could. I really don't. And he's one of the greatest ever. But just to be able to beat that man, like, it blows your mind when you feel it. Like, all the respect in the world to the man. Just, like, it blows you away. You're just like, man, what the fuck do I do with this?
Was that the strongest guy you've gripped up with to this day, under 200 pounds?
Oh, absolutely. In the power that it takes to get there, to get through him, it's not so much the power once you get there. Like, once I had him turned up, it was nothing. But the power that's pulling you across the table, and I've pulled guys 6'8", 6'10", 400 pounds, hooks like trucks, nothing like that.
You could see he's a real table ninja. I mean, his whole body is behind it. The way he's pushing off the other post and everything, and just everything he's doing under the table, it definitely is mastery. And just doing it 35 years, I guess you get to that level. Mario, how do you think that would go, man? Would you like to see that match, Savetan versus Engen, possible match?
Yeah.
And who do you think would get the win on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I still think Svetan would win. I think he would enjoy. He'd bleed out Engen, essentially, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
But it'd be a war and a half. It'd be so good.
Well, I hope it could actually happen. I don't know if Engen's going to be so down with that, but I would love to see it. Just
Put enough money behind it, it'll happen.
I don't know. We'd have to see Engen's ego and all that. I don't think it's really the money, man. I think it'd be more of a pride thing and him, be a
It
little
wouldn't be about
more.
money with him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. I got to
Fair
ask you guys this. I want to ask Mario and Robbie, what was your favorite match on the card other than your matches? Mario, let's start off with you on this.
It's definitely James and Craig. Definitely. Without a doubt.
What about you, Robbie?
We both got the corner opposite of each other, and it's like literally the match ended 3-2. It's the only card on or only match on there that was that way, and it could have went either way. And as much as I loved watching Mario's match, I mean, everybody brought up a good point. Like that was a killer match because honestly, I thought Craig would not beat him easy, but I thought Craig would probably beat him 3-1. Then to see it in the very first round to do what he does, and I know Craig, pulled Craig a lot. I know what it takes to do that. James is a bad dude. I'd love to pull James just to see how stylistically I match up against him. But
good match.
That was a killer match, brother. Like it's hard to top that when you have a match that just goes blow for blow like that.
Yeah.
And to see Craig have to go to a top roll to get
I
the
told
win.
him, I was like, brother, don't dive in there again just because he looks like he's got a little more arm and you got left. I was like, you're gonna have to switch to your top roll to surprise him. And I tried to hide it and everybody could hear everybody yelling over stage, especially you. I heard you. I was like, he's going for your hand. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. I knew it was coming. As soon as I saw him loading up back, I'm like, oh no, here we go. It was good.
Here's a good one from Tol Paul. He says, I'd like to see Rickard versus Brian Shaw, both newish. How does that go down? Matt, what's your thoughts on that? Do you like that match?
Yeah, I mean, anytime giving Rickard an opportunity would be fantastic. A young up and coming superstar. But I think Brian is probably going to go with the Devon Larratt, Auden Larratt route and get the biggest name that he can to get the most exposure and most attention to his match. So I don't see him pulling somebody from the arm wrestling world. I think he'll probably get somebody who's got another big name who's sort of dabbled in it. And my prediction is Larry Wheels. I think that would probably be the biggest match that could happen between for Brian Shaw's debut. Although I would love to see him go against Rickard, I don't think that's the match that they would be pushing for. I think they're looking at numbers. I think they're looking at money, and I think they've got something special in the world's strongest man. Stepping up onto an arm wrestling table for the first time, and they want to make sure they get it right and maximize their profitability.
Israel, Larry Wheels or Brian Shaw, who gets the win on that one?
Oh man, that is tough. I would say just because of experience, potentially Larry, but I definitely think Brian can put him in some bad spots just because of how big and strong that dude is. Dude, right now, I just think he's way too strong to just go all out on the table against somebody. It's kind of scary, but I mean, it does have to happen eventually. I know he's been training. So, yeah, I think putting him against someone new would probably be better.
Okay, and I want to ask these guys right here, who's up next for you guys? So, Mario, who is on the radar, and who would you like to pull at another Knuckles Up?
I'd like to pull Andre, to be honest. I think it's a match that makes sense, and I do want to redeem Ryan's loss.
I like that one, bro. That's a good one. That one got me excited, man. And
Mario, how do you think you do against Ryan right now?
We both had a discussion about it. His current state, I don't think it's even close. If he gets his side pressure back, then it's a match. But right now, it's not close. I'm at my best I've ever felt, probably my absolute peak, and he's injured essentially. Regardless of what he says, he doesn't have enough side. For me, from what I felt, gripping up with him in Brisbane about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I don't think it's a match at this stage. But if he gets healthy, it is.
Who's the favorite between you and Andre in a match in your eyes?
He is. He's got not only the pedigree, his body composition, my God, walks around 4.5% at 107 kilo. And his results in the last year. He's probably the most improved arm wrestler, in the last year out of anyone I can think of.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's been leveling up at amazing pace for sure. What weight cap would you like to see that match at?
Maybe 225. I think it's comfortable for both of us, and it's close to that 220 without,
He can make that.
a big water cut. Yeah, I know he could. He could make 220 as well if he really wanted to.
Definitely. Robbie, what's your thoughts on that match between Andre and Mario?
At 220,
Yeah.
stylistically, if Mario's hand is that good and his containment's good, I'm going to take you.
Oh, very
Thanks,
nice.
Thanks, buddy.
Styles make matches, and I've watched him pull. Now you get him up to the 235 area where he's big, probably goes the other way.
Yeah,
I agree. You gotta make it lean in your favor. That's a big man, carries a lot of muscle. He walks at 240, and his hand is really good. He's really good just about everywhere, but he's susceptible to somebody with a really good hand that's good inside.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example is the Wazinski match, but he has improved since then.
Yes.
By leaps and bounds, if anything. But I feel like he's still a bit slow when it comes to hitting off the mark. And I feel like if you just take his pronator just a touch, it's done, essentially. But that's I'm just going off observation. I don't know if that's true or not.
It's all hypothetical, what you see. I got it.
Mario, would you approach that in a defensive way, or would you attack offense against Andre?
2 ways. I would try to hit to pin, and if that doesn't work, it'd be hit to position. So it's more like offense to set myself up for defense. Essentially, what I did with Plowman, I never hit him to pin with the motivation to pin. I hit to just get a bit of cup and supination, and then just as he went down, he just fell into my hook, essentially. So it'd be the same move, essentially.
We got a super chat from Don Plexman and Dan Plexman. He says, "Great answer, guys. I ask because I'm a defensive puller and I'm at my weakest when I'm about to pin my opponent, even though I'm in the winning position." Okay. And so how about you, Robbie? Who would be next for you? Who do you want? Who's on the radar? I know you were saying that you were interested. No, actually, I thought you didn't say Craig Toulet, right? You've already pulled.
I would pull Craig, but I mean, me and Craig's from the South. Like we could pull next week or this weekend if we wanted to. But
so, who's on the radar for a Knuckles Up event?
Honestly, I would love to pull Playman, but going back and thinking about all these conversations, I want to know how strong James Hooks is.
Oh,
that's the way he pulls stylistically and everything. I think I do things just a little bit different than Craig. We're similar but different. I'm bigger than Craig. I'm longer than Craig. My fingers are longer. I feel like I could do things maybe a little bit different, but that's a match that I would take.
What would the weight cap be on that?
I wouldn't give a shit.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
That one's a fun one too. I like that match. Israel, what's your thoughts on that match, and how do you think that turns out?
Yeah, I think that would be a good match, man. I mean, after seeing Craig get taken to that level, which you normally don't see many people take Craig there, ever really. I mean, that man is strong, and I think Robbie might have some for him with his style for sure. I think him being a little bit bigger and containing probably a little bit better just because he's longer might come in his favor a little better.
Matt, your thoughts?
I'd love to see it. I think that'd be an amazing match, and anytime that James Wall is pulling, I love to watch that guy go. He's incredibly strong. Same with Robbie. Same with Craig Tullier. The guys that get into that inside lane and just it's all power. It's incredible to see that, and especially when you got two guys that are similar like that. You get an absolute war like we did with James and Craig at this last weekend. But I think it would be incredible to see how Robbie would go against Plowman even as well. I think that would be a fantastic match, and both guys having not having victories in their most recent.
You can go do what I didn't do, and I'll try and handle what you did.
I love it. And we got a comment from Savage Armwrestling. He says Mario has a super match with Toshaki on October 13th. Is this true, bro?
Yeah, it's going to be in Japan.
Oh, very nice, man.
I'm heading over there in a couple of weeks. So
Did
Pretty
you
good.
grip up with him at this past event to feel
No,
him out?
we told each other we're not gripping up till the event.
Okay. Well, you're gonna want to
Yeah,
check out that video I put out today. I put out a video
I
with a
saw
little
it.
after. Okay, and
I got it sent to me. Yeah, it looked good.
there's a bunch more coming out as well with Toshiaki on there. I definitely I like him, and I actually got a translator that I'm going to get him on interview. He hasn't been on interview yet, so I'm going to definitely in the next week get him on interview, and I'll definitely mention that match and want to hear
Awesome.
his thoughts and all. Are you? How are you looking at this match? Are you looking at it as the favorite, or are you the underdog in that?
No, he's definitely the favorite. In terms of like side pressure, because we're both side pressure pullers essentially. Um, he's definitely. I feel like he's got more than me. I'm not too sure, but I'm still gonna bang inside with him. I'm gonna
Yeah,
throw myself in there. Yeah.
here. Watch
You
this
know,
video. He
since he's on the
Nice.
screen right now, Paul, I was gonna say,
Is
Robbie
this like 2
Dustin.
hours in?
This was after this was the second hour of the after poll. This is right when I got there, and it was an hour into the after poll. So I mean, he's pretty shot right here. But I mean, the dude is a monster, and I've noticed as soon as he gets into any trouble, he just starts going sideways with this insane. Right here, there you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It seems
that'll be a
like if
good
you get a bit
match.
of pronation
Wow.
on him, he can't really pull out of there. But this is tired Toshi, right? So
yeah,
I couldn't. It's not accurate, but
Yeah.
he's impressive regardless.
yeah. Well, watch this one right here. This is when you can see he's tired already, but as soon as he gets into any watch this now, he starts going crazy sideways. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's almost like Todd Hutchings a little bit, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
here we go.
Oh,
Boom.
that's awesome.
And he did this a
That's so
couple of
cool.
people there. You know, they would get like within a half inch of the pin, and then all of a sudden he would just start going. But I did notice that there might be a little getting him in the hook. He might not be as strong in the hook. That might be something to look into, Mario, for sure. You'll see
We'll
this.
try it.
Yeah. So
We'll definitely try.
what's your thoughts on that, Robbie? Did you get the grip up with Toshiaki at
I
all?
didn't. I was standing there watching his matches, just based on observation, watching Jason take his hand. Which, granted, this is all afterwards, so there's only so much you can take from this. But if you don't consider that, for me, I would attack his hand to the point where I'm going to tax it, and then round 2 and 3, I'm going to come in and I'm going to bury down on his wrist.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
Did you get
So,
a chance to grip up with Jason, Robbie?
I've pulled Jason before, so I mean, I was warming up with him in the back too, but I know what he brings.
You think it's a competitive match right now
With who?
with Jason Merlo, between you and him.
Yeah.
Me and him,
Yeah.
we're pretty close.
Ooh,
Obviously,
okay.
I'm more of an inside puller, and he's a top roll guy.
Yeah.
Just like in the round robin, he went for a top roll, got me there. I stopped him defensively and straight back over.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's interesting. Well, I think Jason's 5 or 6 in North America at 198. I'm 2.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Wow. That would be a potential good match right there.
yeah, I'm sure he would love to pull me again at some point. But well, like I said, I mean, if we run across each other, I will never run from him. I'll give him his due and all that stuff. But I would say he wants to explore more of the international scene, and I don't blame him at all. I want to do the same thing, but we'll see each other in December.
What do you got going on in December? What's up with that?
The big Great American Bash, the 32-man
Oh,
invitational.
Ray Jenkins is a big event.
Yeah, he'll be in there with me.
That's going to be a good one. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to LeRae Jenkins doing huge things. Can't wait to see that event.
I
know
expect me, him, and Craig to, if Adam can't come, I don't think Brandon Elcester's going to be able to make it. I think Tom Holland's coming too as well.
Oh, that's
So,
going to be a good
That's
one.
another good one.
There's
Hell
going to
yeah.
be 4, 5, 6 of us. It's going to come down to.
Yeah, shout out to them. Definitely, guys, get get that pay-per-view. It's a 2-day event. You just pay that one fee and you get both days. It's going to be a great event. Anything LeRay's got his name on is definitely a really good thing. And just heard that Robert Kelly will be handling all the filming and all. And we know Robert Kelly really brings a great production and all. So definitely get behind that. That's going to be a good one. And Ballesteros Arm Wrestling, he'll be there too. He is an absolute beast, man. I can't wait to see that. He'll be representing North Cal over there.
He gonna be at 98? I've not looked at the list. And
yeah,
he's usually he's a 98er. He's been doing 98 for a while now.
I couldn't remember if he was in the 220 or not.
He goes back and forth. Matters what weight he'll be coming in. What weight class you going to be in, Ballesteros? Is it 198 or 220 that day? Definitely let us know. And I wanted to know what you guys. What's the plan for social media and all? Robbie, are you working on getting more out there? Ballesteros is going to be 220 that day. So yeah.
Awesome.
But what's the plan for social media with you, brother? Are you going to get out there? We were just talking with Jason and telling him to get more out there and all.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not super familiar with Instagram. It's always been one that I've had. I just never did a whole lot with. So when people's asking me to push on there, I'm just like, I'm figuring it out. Facebook, I can run that. I know how to do that. TikTok, my wife's over here killing it on TikTok, so pretty easy. Plus, I got 2 teenagers that do all that stuff. But I'm not super savvy with social media like that. But I be me. Like that's all I know how to do, and I'll get help from here and there with everybody. But you got to be who you are for the most part, I think, and it carries you through. But you just got to put yourself out there. You got to be a little bit vulnerable, so people can see you if you want to be seen.
Robbie, all you got to do for you, brother, is some of your training videos. Just throw a camera on. I mean, you don't have to do anything special. Put your phone on a stand as you're training in. Put that out there, and then when you're at some of your practices, just throw them up there and get that on Instagram. I mean, you'll get a lot of traction, bro. Everybody wants to just see you pull, and I mean, you're an animal on the table, and they want to know how you become that animal. So, nothing really that hard. Just simple as that, and I'm telling you, you'll get a lot of growth for sure.
Awesome.
Mario, what's the plans for you in social media? I see that you got a YouTube out there. I see you doing your thing on Instagram. Are you looking to grow that at all, or what's the plan?
I want to grow my Instagram. It's just more convenient. I am, however, talking to a possible editor for my YouTube stuff. So that's going to be a work in progress. But where to reach me would be Instagram, just to see everything. I post up regularly, and usually any sort of training I do, it's on my stories. So, and if you got a message or a question, just feel free to ask. I always reply.
Yeah, guys in the chat, if you guys are looking to help these guys out, man, also get your name out there, is help these guys out, edit up their videos, help them build their social media, and, they could shoot you out and let everybody know you're the one behind it, helping them. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of business. And then just a tip for you guys, if you guys got somebody on your team that knows how to work these social media platforms, just see if they're willing to help you out, bro. This way, when you have practice, they could just throw on the camera and post it up for you. It's not really that hard, and just that alone, man, it just getting out there like that. And I mean, with your guys' skill level, that'll do wonders for you guys. And then you'll be on all the big events. You guys are already at the top stage, Knuckles Up and all that. You guys are doing amazing things over there. So people want to see you guys now. Just, let them see you. That's all we need to do. Oh, this was at the after poll at Knuckles Up 3, right?
No, that was straight after the weigh-ins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
that was after my 35-pound cut.
Yeah.
And I just started drinking water.
Holy shit. So, and then the next day, how much did you gain overnight? It was something ridiculous.
I never weighed myself, but I felt full, and I looked full too. This is me looking like Skeletor. Next morning I felt a lot better.
Wow. Pinning Ryan
strong
Espy.
yeah.
Holy shit.
To be fair, he wasn't training or anything like that. So, yeah. To be fair to Ryan.
Yeah,
that's still a killer win to be able to do that.
For real, guys.
How old are you now, Mario? 26, 27?
I turned 28 this year.
Okay, 28. Okay.
And what about you, Robbie?
I'm about to turn 37.
Nice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming on tonight, and I just want you guys to shout out your platforms now, like we were just talking about. But where can people get a hold of you and see most of your content? Start off with you, Mario.
For me, just on Instagram, just my full name, Mario Tambakis, and yeah, shoot me a message if you want some training tips or anything. I might be releasing publicly my training program,
That
and
that's dope.
yeah, and it's the same style as Todd Hutchings with my take on it. Plus, it's a lot more easier to follow. So yeah, if anyone's interested, I'll work something out. If there's a lot, sorry, if there's a lot of people interested, then I'll work something out and try to get it out publicly for a very small fee.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, do that. Everybody's interested, bro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You just be plowing, bro. You need to capitalize right now and get that out there. And that's what we're just talking about right now. There you go right now.
Great.
That'll do wonders for the social media. Robbie, where can people get a hold of you and check you out?
For me, on my Facebook, I've got all my social medias linked on there, so you'll be able to find everything. Best place to find me would be on Facebook, and from there, like, you'll be able to see everything on my profile there. But I'm slowly building. I interact on Instagram, but I've got my notifications off, so I have to go in and all that stuff. But yeah, check me out on Facebook.
Hell yeah. And Robbie, also want to throw it out there, man. Anytime you want to come on the Arm Wrestling Buzz show, man, and even if somebody's out for the week or something, you're always welcome. I love having talks with you. You're very knowledgeable. You've been doing this for a lot of years, and I think that would also help you get out there as well, man. So you're always invited. Same thing with you, Mara. If you ever want to pop on, I know it's hard with your guys' schedule over there in Australia, you guys on the next day and all that, but same thing with you, man. If you ever want to come in and fill in, we'd love to have you guys for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys. Well, have a great day, man, and hope to see you guys at the next Knuckles Up.
Yeah.
We'll see you,
Thank
brother.
you for having me on, man. Thank
See
you.
you guys later.
See you guys.
So that was amazing. I got to hear from all the athletes and all that, and want to just catch up now on current events going on in the arm wrestling world other than Knuckles Up. I know I've been really focused on this for the last couple of weeks and all, but Israel, you're our guy for the current events. What's been going on, man?
I just wanted to ask you guys if you guys got a chance to talk about two big matches that happened pretty recently. Pavlo Davidenyev versus Cody Spermerit, and then Uncle John had his match with Paul Douglas Passmore, who we had on a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God, bro. First off, I gotta say, Pablo is just leveled up, man. I think he was definitely the underdog in that match. And to see him, it was at the Global Elite Arm Wrestling. That was impressive, man. He is just, really, really next level. Just keeps getting better and better. And then Uncle John, oh my God, bro, he's catching up to Levon in size, dude. What the hell? That guy is getting huge. And I don't think anybody had him for the win against Paul Passmore. Everybody had him counted out. And I just kept saying, I'm like, yo, guys, have you seen Uncle John lately? I know Paul has been cutting down a lot, and then Uncle John has just been going the other way and just getting bigger and bigger. So I was just like, I don't know, that one could be a match. I was one of the only guys saying that, and I know you also agreed, Israel, because you pulled him recently and you got to experience that power. But that was pretty impressive, man. What was your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Uncle John, like you said, I think people sort of take him as a because he plays that character, that Uncle John character, and does the bad guy thing, and the WWE style promos, and the action figures and all the rest of it. They tend to forget that he's like actually a legitimate, quite good arm wrestler. And when he's had matches like the thumbtack match against Evan, and some people may have only seen him through that and only be aware of him from those matches, and they think, oh yeah, he's kind of a gimmicky kind of guy. But no, he's a proper elite guy. And then so when he gets matches against somebody like Paul Passmore and puts on a performance like that, I mean, yeah, I think people's minds may have changed all of a sudden. They're like, oh, he's not just like a goofball, you know, he's actually got legit skills. So yeah, it's good to see that coming up for Uncle John.
And you know, he's on a good streak. Apart from beating Paul Douglas Passmore, he just beat Jeff Day like a few months back as well. But that's a huge win, you know. I mean, the guy's been on a tear. And I mean, after pulling him and feeling that left, dude, his left is really, really strong. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I think there's two different guys there. We got John Thompson, and then we got Uncle John. Uncle John is the actor and the character, and then John Thompson is just a really experienced arm wrestler that takes this really, really serious. And he's coming out. He's really showing his level. I think it was getting kind of annoyed at people just kind of writing him off as just a character and all. And but I also love the Uncle John character. That is a fun character, and the thumbtack match at Arm Gods was just that was fun to watch. I know a lot of people, a lot of more serious arm wrestlers were kind of offended by it, but I thought it did its purpose. It got a lot of non-arm wrestlers watching and interested in our sport, and then he had to back it up after that because everybody was just like, yo, he's just a goofball and all that. And then now just to see these wins that he's getting against Jeff Dabe and Paul Passmore, I mean, you can't discredit that at all. He's the real deal. And I just can't get it. Every time I see a picture of him, I'm just like, oh my God, bro, the face and everything has got
His
so
hands look massive.
well, his hands always were massive, but
Yeah,
now they
yeah.
just got even more thick, and his overall is just unreal. What was your match with him, Israel? Like, explain like what you felt that day, because I know you were pretty in shock at the power level and all, but I gotta say, bro, you are just an absolute tank. You got the win that day, but you definitely worked that day. I definitely seen you sweating, and you definitely were, had to put it all on the table.
He caught me off guard, man. We pulled right-handed, so I didn't pull him with his left hand, his stronger arm. But he was really strong. That first round, he really caught me off guard, and I wasn't expecting him to just hit to the pad with that much pressure. I had to turn it on right after that, and I did manage to get the win. But I mean, I had the exact same like shock that you just explained, where you're used to this character of Uncle John, and you don't really take him too serious as an arm wrestler, so you just get up on the table with him and think you're gonna play around, and you better take him serious, man, because he's no joke. I mean, left-handed, I will gladly say that I would not have beat him left-handed that day, but it makes me excited to potentially maybe one day train up for a left-handed match with him as well.
Especially now that you got a hurt right and you're in recovery now, and kind of catch us up to date. What's that? We got a cast on right now and all.
I got my sling on. It's just 3 small puncture wounds in my arm. It's not too bad, but so basically what ended up happening is my labrum, the bicep tendon connects to your labrum. I did not know that. And so my labrum was pulled off of the bone pretty significantly right where my bicep tendon was. That's why I felt this weird, like almost like I couldn't hold a tight hook, I felt my bicep tendon bulging, but my bicep tendon's fine other than it pulling my labrum out. So I had like a 180-degree tear at the top and bottom to the bottom of my labrum from 12 to 6 o'clock, and I got it reattached. So we'll see what happens.
And what's recovery looking like, timeline, and when do you start getting to work on it again?
It's looking like probably the better part of 2 to 3 months before I could really start training it like heavily, and then from there probably another 2 to 3 months to get back to where I was before.
And what's going on with the left? Are you working that right now? Is that
I am. I've been training it, but it's it's kind of hard to like go. I've been doing more volume than anything intense. It's hard to not use the other shoulder right now, so I've been doing hand stuff more than anything to try to get like the hand developed.
Yeah. And the main thing I got to say, brother, is what I learned when I went through my surgeries is if you do train the other hand, it will transfer over to your right. You won't lose as much size, and definitely a good thing to just keep that left going. You don't have to go full out.
I appreciate you telling me that, because after I started training, more like grip stuff and hand stuff and forearm stuff, I feel like I haven't even really lost a lot of size on my right forearm and like the wrist. It's mostly like the bicep and the shoulder area that's a little atrophied right now.
What's your weight at these days? Have you been monitoring the
Oh
weight?
yeah, I'm like 271, 271 this morning.
And you normally were like 290 to 300 was the
When I
normal
pulled
weight.
Uncle John, I was 318.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And so, what's the plans moving forward as far as weight classes? Are we going to keep in the supers? Are we going to look to go down? What's the plans with all this?
You know, I think that I'm gonna take a similar approach to like what people like Mega Mike are doing, where he's just big enough that he could go down to like the heavyweights, but he can also still compete well in the super heavies when he decides to jump in. So I think I'm gonna try to get down to a weight of like 250, 242s, but like strong.
Yeah, I think that's the move. This way you could go either way, and I think you at that weight. Oh my God, bro, you'd be deadly in that heavyweight class. That'd be a problem for a lot of guys, and I'd like to see that match eventually. You and Mega Mike. Maybe that 242 class. That could be
Yeah,
an interesting one
absolutely.
for sure.
That's where
I'm
I'm headed,
looking
man.
looking forward to it, bro, and definitely keep everybody updated. You should get out on that YouTube channel and kind of just show your recovery and what you're going through, and kind of explain everything with the surgery, and that'd be some good content that a lot of people would benefit in the arm wrestling world for sure.
Yeah, you're right, brother. I do have to do that. And right now I'm just sitting at home, so I might as well get on it.
Here, watch this right now. We got the Israel versus Uncle John, right hand, best of 5. So what's going through your head right now? Round 1.
I'm just kind of testing the waters, seeing what he's gonna bring to the table. I could feel that he's gonna try to top roll, but I didn't expect him to hit like that. Like I really had to catch him and kind of contain with the bottom of my hand and just side pressure it out. I mean, he basically had me to where I couldn't get my cup really engaged.
Yeah, that side pressure is nasty, bro.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then from there, I really made an emphasis on trying to get my wrist cupped and like not give him any of my wrist, and that seemed to, be the answer.
What was his hand like? I know he's got a huge hand.
Yeah, he's got a big, strong hand. That's one thing that you really feel when you grip up with him. You feel the threat in the hand. So it kind of makes you feel like, oh, like if I try to top roll, this could go bad. But the hook is definitely the answer with Uncle John's right.
Okay, and what was he at that day in weight wise? Do you
I
know?
think you said 260, 255, 260. I
And
was definitely the bigger guy for sure.
where's he at today? Do we know what his weight's at today?
I believe he pulled Paul Passmore at like 258, 259.
Okay, so he is around the same size. It looks like his proportions though got a little bigger these days. Like he's
Yes.
more, yeah, he's got a lot more muscle on it. It's
Yeah,
looking
he
like these
does.
days. And
Definitely.
Topol says Derek Smith versus Israel for King of Cali. I see that
One day,
happen in
man.
the near
One day.
future. I could say in the how long do you think it's going to take you to get back up to Derek Smith's power? I mean, you
Well,
guys were pretty close before, but
I'd say there was definitely a gap. Derek is strong and he's the number one for a reason, but I don't think it's a gap that I can't close. Especially after getting to pull with Mega Mike in depth at Brandon Allen's and knowing that their power levels are similar. I think it's something that I can achieve. It's just gonna take me a bit right now. I'm hoping that by maybe Patterson of next year, I'll be able to be back to my full strength.
we got a comment from John Breedy. He says Uncle John's side pressure game is way stronger now. And I also want to bring up, oh yeah, that's in my basement in the garage right there. There we go.
Yeah.
Is it Matt Silver? Yeah,
Yeah,
friggin' beast.
this is after a round robin.
Wow. There I am right there. Holy shit. And then I want to make mention with John Breida, man. He just had a great match this past weekend that was so impressive. And I was excited about this match. This was Rob Topi versus John Breida, left hand. I know we were talking about it before, and John was dominant, bro. Which I didn't expect. I thought it was going to be a war back and forth, but Breida just, he took control, and it was just very, very impressive, man. So did you guys get to see that one yet?
I did, man, and I gotta say, sorry, Matt. I just wanted to jump in, and that's another guy that really has been impressing me lately. John Breida has been leveling up. Like he was already good, but in the last, I'd say 2 to 3 years, his game has just gone like he's just perfected it. The dude is really looking like an international puller. Like, he is ready for that stage, and I just got to give him his props.
For real. What we need for Breida is we need him more out there on social media. I think that's where he's lacking, man. And anybody in the States, we all know him. We know what a beast he is, left arm and all. But we need to hear more noise from you, John. That's the only thing separating, from getting worldwide known. I mean, you're already almost there, but I think that social media presence would just put you over the top, bro, where, you'd be on every mega card there is, because you've been putting on shows for the last couple of years, and that left is just deadly. And you just showed that this past weekend against Rob Topi, who, I mean, that dude is just huge. I mean, just massive. And, he's an OG in the game and one of the top lefts. I've seen him beat guys like Eric Waffel. That was when I first seen him, when I first came into the sport 4 years ago. We went up to Reno, and I just remember, Eric coming in there, and he was real cocky, and he thought he was going to take that very easily. And then I just remember Rob Topi, and I didn't know who he was then. He just walked up to Eric, and he goes, "Your reign in the left ends today." And I just look at him like, who the fuck was that, bro? I was like, are you for real? And, Eric's like, oh, I got this and all. And then Topi just, he kind of dominated him that day. And I was like, holy shit. So I've always, remembered that. And then when I seen Breida taking the match on, I kept saying, I'm like, I know Breida's left is next level, but I mean, Rob just looks so much bigger. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off. And then I just seen the video, and my boy Nick Mode, who just went against Georgi Savetkov left hand and all, he sent me the video, and he showed me Breida was just like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that is impressive, man. So let's get you more out there, Breida. Get somebody to help you out. I mean, everybody believes in you. Now all you need to do is get a social media guy, get him posting up some of your practices, some of your workouts, because I'd love to see how you got that strong, man. And I'd love to see you in training and all. I think that would really help you with getting more out there and all.
Did you get a chance, Paul, to see him after pull Georgi Savetkov at all?
No. Tell us what happened with that.
There was a quick little video of, they're just kind of feeling each other's strength in the center. It's not really like, Georgi is obviously a significantly strong puller, but I will say that on a few of those drives of the pad, John did manage to slow him down a bit. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Now, was this on the left arm, or was this the
Left
contracted arm? Okay, so it was
arm.
the left arm. Okay. Wow, very nice. And I saw Georgie, I know Nick Mode is just, an absolute beast, dude. The dude is just like, he's like a little Sherman tank. He's like 5'9", 5'10". He's got like 20-inch forearms, like 350 or 360 pounds. And, Georgie took him out of his track like right away and all. Is this the after pull right here?
I think this is what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It's a little stop there, like
it's real sticky right there, bro. He's got that
sticky. You
sticking
can
point
tell,
right there.
yeah.
Yep.
You made Georgie roll a few times, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd like to see Breida hitting into him. It looked like he was just trying to catch him. I would like to see him getting a hit on him.
It seems like Georgie was really avoiding the hook. I mean, not that he's particularly a hook puller at all, but he was really not trying to go inside with people during that event.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, I definitely. What's your thoughts, Matt? Did you know John Breida before this?
I definitely heard of him. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's like he said that he's going to be hiring a social media guy, which is the right idea, the right move to make. But I've heard of Breida for a while. He's been in that underground because there's a list of guys that everyone sort of knows they're absolute killers, but they sometimes don't get the spotlight that they deserve. And sometimes you've got to put yourself into the spotlight to make sure that people know who you are.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely agree, man. Social media is a very big part. I keep saying the same thing. It's you can't just be a good arm wrestler these days. You got to be a good arm wrestler and good at self promotions. And if you're not that guy at self promotion, if maybe you're more quiet and reserved, and hire somebody. I mean, I'm not even saying you got to pay. When you get up to that level, you got guys that are offering their services because they just want to get, start editing and helping out these top guys. And it also helps them with getting more business after that. Because then, like the newer pullers will go and they'll pay them a fee to help them build their social media and all. So, definitely make a post, guys. Like John, go make a post out there and see if anybody wants to help you out, or, even somebody on your team. And that's where it normally happened. That was exactly how I got out there for myself, was with Jerry Catterer and Travis Bajan. Here we go. There's me and the Shark. I was getting to train with him a couple of times. He lives right near my place in Florida. And I was telling the Shark, I was like, bro, you feel, when you train with him, he's good at training with people. And you actually start feeling like you got something for him. But literally, this dude is just holding you, and he's just helping himself out and conditioning himself and all. But yeah, he is a beast. But I mean, he looks jacked there, but now add about 15 pounds on him, and that's what I just seen this past weekend.
Easy, man.
Oh my God, bro. It was nuts. Like everything was just, his wrist, his forearm, just, like doubled in size. Like,
It's like he grows like every single muscle in his structure, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, bro, the last year I've been watching the progress, and every time I go to the practice, is you get to see it. And he's got this new guy on the team, not new guy in the sport, but Max Copperman. He's a young stud.
Oh,
You actually know him.
Maximilian Kapperman. Yep, I know.
Yeah,
The Russian guy. Yep.
Yeah, so he used to live in Washington, and he would always meet us in Oregon. We would throw these big practices where like 60, 70 guys would come. And Max was, I think he was only maybe 17, 18 then. And dude was just an animal, and he was deceiving. He wasn't that jacked or anything. I know he was a swimmer, and he had those fast twitch muscles. Then I seen him about a year later. He moved out to Florida. And I didn't even recognize this dude, bro. This dude is looking like Andre now. I mean, jacked, like just completely jacked. He put on about 20, 30 pounds. I think he's around that 220 class. And him and Andre, that's Andre's main training partner. And I think it's helping both of them out majorly, like for real. And, they're both leveling up at a very, very fast pace. So definitely look for big things with Max as well. But let's get back on to what else is going on, current events that we got to catch everybody up on.
Yeah, we've got Pro Puncher League that we're going next week. Sorry, not next week. It's starting in October. And
what's the date on that it starts?
I think it's October 3rd. I get there October 1st, and then it runs until the 20th of October. So it's like 3 weeks that this event takes place. But it'll be on the Sony Sports Network, and I think that they will be getting it as the usual for them over in India, getting millions and millions and millions of views. So very excited to see arm wrestling being pushed to that level of viewership. And I think it's only a matter of time before they start breaking over to the North American markets and the Eastern European markets as well.
I cannot wait, bro. I just remember last year, Pradeep telling me all about it, and he's like, bro, wait till you see this. And he's like, he would send me the clips, and I started really following it, and I started getting into all these different characters on each team that be like one or two dudes that really stand out. I started to get to really know them, and I mean, I just loved it. I was like addicted to it. It was just so much fun, and I couldn't believe that, $1 million in their first event, and like they just had so many people watching, and it was just amazing. And then to hear that you and Bowen are going to be commentating, that is just, next level. And are you going to be able to be part of the buzz when this is going on? Are we going to be able to, hear every week? I'm hoping you could be on and tell us what's going on firsthand there and keep us up to date. Is that, or you don't know your schedule yet?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the times will be in terms of like what time it is in Mumbai compared to the States. But we're doing alternate days. So one day will be Ryan, and the next day will be me, and then we're swapping back and forth throughout the whole 3 weeks. So there's a good chance that I'll be free each week, because if I'm not off that day, there's the other possibility that with the time difference that it'll probably be like late at night or something for me, so that way I'll be able to jump on. But I'll do everything I can to make sure that I get into the Buzz crew every week.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I hope you keep us up to date with that. I'm really, really looking forward for that one for sure. And Dan Plexman saying if you got can you play the videos of him and Mox Tobin? I know Dan made the trip out to Florida. I just missed him. I think I was just leaving, or I just left a couple of days before back to the West Coast and all. But I was surprised when I seen Dan, and he was getting some pins on Mox, because Mox is just another beast in Florida, man. I get to train with Mox pretty consistent when I'm down there and everything. And to see Dan doing what he was doing was very, very impressive for sure. And
What's Dan's weight, Paul?
I think he's like a 176 guy or somewhere. What weight are you at, Dan? It's either 176 or 198. I'm thinking though 176. I think he might have been a little smaller than Mox, and I think Mox walks around 198 to like 220. You know, his weight fluctuates for sure. Yeah, Dan's an absolute beast, man. Yeah, he got to train. I think he came to Andre's practice as well. I think they were all there over there. Shark couldn't pin him either. Holy shit, that's crazy. But Dan, I don't know, man. You might have got Shark to like what I was talking about, bro, because you start thinking that Shark don't got nothing for you, and then you realize that Shark was just kind of playing with you to make you feel better and all. So, you know, I felt that a couple of days where I was like walking out of there with a big smile on my face, like, and then, you know, Shark would just like, you know, yeah, dude, I was
so
just
Dan's over here on the right, right?
Yeah.
See, he's got a sticky point, kind of like a little Kings move going on.
Yeah, he's got an extreme lock. I've seen him doing this to a lot of people, bro. You know, I seen some of that footage. I remember when he was in Florida, and I definitely was in shock, because I mean, I pull with these guys every week, so I know what level they're at. And then to see Dan, you know, and it's deceiving, you know, because you look at Dan and, you know, he doesn't look as jacked as some of these guys that he was beating, but yeah, I was definitely impressed with that for sure.
Now, is he an OG, or is this somebody with a gift that's come recently?
Dan, how long you been? Yeah, he's 176 guy. Copperman couldn't pin him either. Holy shit. What how long you been pulling, bro? Yeah, let us know, Dan. We're definitely interested for that. Yeah, 90 Ryan Galton. He has a question for you. Wonder which accent Matt will do commentary in.
Well, should I do it in the American accent so you guys can hear it that way, just so it sounds familiar for you guys?
I want to hear a New York accent, bro. Forget about it.
Forget about it. We'll get a cup of coffee.
I love it, man. Yeah, Captain Obvious says he's the bionic man right there. 2019, so he's 5 years in.
Okay.
Wow. Absolute beast, man. I wish I would have made it to that practice. You know, I just remember.
It seems like he has strong tendons. I wonder what he did to build that up.
Yeah, he has an amazing story. We got to get him on here one day for sure. I know he got some severely burnt, you know, and had some third-degree burns, and, you know, came back from that. And you know, I've talked to Dan in the past and all. Definitely an amazing story for sure. What's up, lads? Phil Woody in the house. How you doing, Phil? Did you get to check out Knuckles Up, Phil? Interested to hear your thoughts on that as well. Captain obviously says Boston accent is the best.
What about you, Paul? Your favorite match from Knuckles Up?
Definitely that Craig Toulier, and I don't know, bro. That one I definitely was going crazy, but I think it was Mario versus Plowman where I officially lost my voice, bro. It really was just, I could not talk after that. I was going nuts, but I also was going nuts when Robbie got that first pin. That I started screaming. I kind of was like going crazy for Robbie. I'm like, bro, your dream's about to come true. I'm screaming all this shit out. And then round two, Saventon just, you know, he came just a table ninja. But you know, I mean, every single match I was just going ape shit over. I was so excited that whole day there, and you know, just even the night before with the whole lead up, and then we all were hanging out. We had the dinner, and then we went out on the terrace, and you know, everybody was like the fans and the athletes hanging out, and you know, couple of the guys I was with, they started drinking and all that started, and then we were on the 98% podcast all night, and then all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off. So I'm on the podcast and I'm like, yo, is Nanya in the building? I thought Nanya showed up, bro, and he was fucking with me and all. So then I started going out to the I was out front, and started talking to the cops, and we're all on live, and I'm like, yo, did somebody that has a super match tomorrow pull the fire alarm trying to get out of their match, and the cops thought it was the funniest thing, and they were talking on the podcast for a little while, and it was just the weekend was so much fun, man, just hanging out with everybody, and I got to hang out with the 98 crew and Grondin and all. It was a lot of fun with them. Grondin just, whenever you're around him, bro, he just has you dying laughing the whole time. So as the Australians are going, I think Mario was pulling his match. Grondin's yelling, "Do it for Canada, bro! Do it for Canada!" Everybody's looking like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
That is so funny.
Yeah, it was definitely a great time. What did he say? Phil Woody, the high five, always working hard. James Wall did the UK proud. Yeah, I really like James Wall a lot, man. Me and him hit it off for real. We're gonna definitely get him on in the next coming weeks. Maybe next week when the high five crew comes on, we'll see if James could be available for the Arm Wrestling Buzz show. I really like that kid, man. It's just a great guy, and to see that performance was just amazing for him. Real. I hope he gets another big match and knuckles up. He definitely deserves it for sure. All right, guys. Well, we've been on for quite some time. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming on. Really appreciate all the comments and all, and I appreciate you guys being part of the Buzz crew. And yeah, Matt, you got me excited. I mean, I hope you could fit in your schedule to come on the Arm Wrestling Buzz when you're at Papanjali, because I definitely want to hear the behind the scenes of what's going on, and I want to hear what characters stick out to you, and we'll just put spotlight on. We got to get everybody watching that event, because they're doing mega things for arm wrestling, and that's like worldwide. And I've never seen arm wrestling get so many views than when they throw their events. I mean, they're getting like 15 to 30 million in the first week on all their days, and you're just like, holy shit, it's just in a whole nother level over there for real. And if they could bring some of that action to North America, oh, that would be just amazing. And Matt, when is the next big event? Just go over that one more time for AWE, and we want to keep everybody up to date, and let us know when any of these big matches are locked in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got AWE Grand Prix 2 that will be happening on October the 27th here in Adelaide, and there will be live and free for everyone to be able to see on the AWE YouTube channel. So no pay-per-view involved. Everyone will be able to see that. The exact time, we still need to release that, but it should be around 1 p.m. Adelaide time. So we're going to try to hit that sweet spot for the US market as well, which I think it will be Saturday night for you guys there. But the 8 guys that will be competing in that tournament. So we did announce this last night, but we'll run through it today because I don't think you guys would be aware of that yet. But so in the 8-man double elimination tournament, we've got Ryan Bowen, we've got Ulrika Bornman, who is the defending champion. We've got Brett Coots, who came second in the first tournament as well. We've got a young man called Taron Broad, who is an under 90s, under 80 kilos arm wrestler here from Adelaide, but incredibly strong in the hook, and his nickname is the Giant Killer for a reason, takes down super heavyweights. We've also got Marcus Atirai, who is from Brisbane, the same club as Ryan Bowen. It's 165 kilos, like 350 pounds or something. 6'6", giant. Tahitian Wrecking Ball is his nickname. We've also got the #1 puller from Tahiti, whose name I'm still learning how to pronounce, but I'm going with TNT at this time. But another humongous man from the Tahitian Islands there. He's the #1 rank. We've also got another guy from Adelaide here, Joel Hewitt, who's 6'8", 150 kilos, which is, I don't know, what is that, 300 and something pounds. He's an absolute monster. And Charles Puri from New Zealand, who's basically the #2 in New Zealand behind Matarangi Hedamora. So it's an absolute stellar lineup of killers, and whoever wins this tournament is going to have to put the work in, and they'll be deemed a worthy champion for sure if they manage to get the victory.
Yeah, before that, man, we got to get a couple of these guys on, bro. If you want to set up, get them on the Buzz and, spotlight these guys, we'd love to have them on. And also, I know you wanted to get, do you still want to get the guy, what was his name?
Masahir Saidu.
Yes.
Oh, Mazahir.
Yeah, #1 in India, and he was the standout star of Propanja for the first league that they had, and he'll be returning again in October in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, he went undefeated last year, and he'll probably do the same this year. It's unbelievable center hold. I put my whole body weight onto that guy. He was sitting down at the time as well, and I was standing and pushing with everything I had, and his arm didn't move from that position. I've never seen it before. Normally somebody will go a little bit, like they'll move, half an inch. These didn't move in the slightest. I've never experienced something like that. It was just so insane.
Wow. So let's see if we get him on next week. Maybe we have him on the second part of the show, maybe 10:30 Eastern time, if it fits in with his schedule and all. I'd love to have him on. He's been on a couple of times on our show and all, and I really like him as a puller, and just his character overall is a great guy for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful guy.
All right, fellas. Well, thank you again for coming on. Let's see the gun show before we call it a night. Oh, yeah. There you go. There you go. Hell yeah. And thanks again, everybody. And we'll see you next week, Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Like always, the Arm Wrestling Buzz Show. Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night. Take care.